disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you. That's right, to you, live from the true north. This is your host, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. We will be joined by more people. Open phone lines today, this beautiful November evening. Happy Day of the Dead, by the way. Happy Day of the Dead for my fellow Mexicans out there. I don't know if the Filipinos or any Asians celebrate it. I know the cultures tend to overlap just a tiny little bit. So shout out to everybody out there. I might be posting a StreamYard link too for outside of North American callers. So stay tuned for that one. We got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get down to it. But before we get to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, people. You know the drill. If you want to contribute to the Gravy Train, you can do so via the Super Chat feature during the show. You can also donate via the PayPal page or the BDA Patreon page. That really helps us out. But the most important thing is that you continue to tune into the show, hitting that like button, that thumbs up button, and spreading the BDA gospel. That's about it. A shout out to, you know what? Let me put on a little, while I read some of the comments here in the chat room, let me put some Day of the Death music. There we go. Shout out to Blue Collar Sports TV, Seamus Carey, PSK, Wisdom, Luke Peterson, Ringside Charlie, Nordic Kingdom. Is Nordic Kingdom Nordic Warrior? Did you change your name? Because I don't know if this is another person. Jay Perez, Virtuoso, shout out to Virtuoso, Tony Boswell, shout out to Blue Collar Sports TV. Check out his channel. GEMJ, Seamus Carey, Kid Top Skull, Northeast LA 90031. Órale. SSB28, Brandon Ray, Endgame, Vince Vegas, The Fight Scout, haven't seen him in a while, shout out to The Fight Scout, Giuseppe La Rocca, Andres Fernandez, Jonathan Morrison, aka Jackson, and many more to come, I'm sure. Guys, thank you for joining us. We got a lot of ground to cover here. Believe you me, a lot of ground to cover. Like I said, open phone lines, so if you want to call in, you can certainly do so. I see we got Gonzalo on the line. Gonzalo, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
It's going fantastic. How about you, man? How you doing?
Doing all right.
Just all right, man? I doubt that. I think you're doing perfect, man. But you're being humble as usual.
Nah, I just woke up. It's like 5:30 in the morning here.
Damn, you're an early riser, man. At what time did you used to get up when you were in the service?
Right around maybe like about the same time, 5:30.
So you never stopped it, huh? You never quit.
No, I did, but just back in those days, that's right around the time I used to wake up, take a shower, then go to PT. We do some exercise around 6:30, come back around 7:30, and go to work at 9, from 9 to like 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock, go to lunch. Then the work day ends at 5. Sometimes it drags on till like the rest of the afternoon or the nighttime. Sometimes you just never know.
When I was in Vietnam, everybody always, when I was in PT for the Vietnam, people were like, in boot camp, people were like, man, I want to go to Chow. And I was thinking, what do you mean go to Chow? Let's do a couple of more push-ups, man. Let's learn how to kill some more people, man. I was hardcore, man, let me tell you. Also, we also got Precise on the line. Precise, are you there?
Am I?
Yes, you are. Well, I can hear you. I don't know about everybody else, but hopefully everybody else can hear you. Thank you for being on, man. We got a lot of ground to cover, man. 3 fights. Well, 4 if you want to include the Munguia fight from Friday. Oh, I see we got Bucho also as well. Bucho, thank you for dropping by, man. All right. Now, listen, fellas. He's probably setting up his mic. Yeah, Bucho, I can't hear you, man. All right, listen.
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic.
Sorry, were you talking to me? I'm sorry, my mother's... I apologize.
Your mother what?
My mother was calling. I don't know if you were talking to me, but my mom was calling me. I had to...
Jeez, Luis. All right. Let's get this under control. Let's all take a deep breath and get back on the road. Let's start with Gonzalo. Gonzalo, you got here first. You tell me, which fight do you want to start with? We had Davis Santa Cruz. We had Maloney versus Inoue, or Inoue Maloney rather. We had Usyk moving up to heavyweight and passing the test for now. And we had on Friday Munguia versus Tyranno Johnson. You tell me, man.
Davis Santa Cruz.
Let's get down to it. Santa Cruz versus Davis Santa Cruz. So just for people that missed it, the end result was Tank Davis by knockout in the 6th round. It was a beautiful, devastating knockout. I know that's a bit of oxymoronic, but boxing fans know what I'm talking about. It was a beautiful knockout. Gonzalo, what did you think of the fight, man? What did you make of it?
Wow. It was exciting, man. It was a really good fight. I thought that Tank Davis, I thought really that he had control of the fight throughout the whole 6 rounds. I know he was getting lit up like a piñata, and Santa Cruz looked like a mini Antonio Margarito, and I thought that he wasn't going anywhere. I even posted it on the Discord and said, hey, Mr. BDA, look, he looks like Margarito. He's not going anywhere. In other words, he's not going to get knocked out. Mm-hmm. And coming to find out 2 rounds after that, he got KO'd. It wasn't like the big truck hitting the little truck, because I thought that Leo Santa Cruz looked big. He looked good for the weight. And I always thought this to myself, and looking at Tank Davis's body in this fight, I know a lot of people might disagree with me, but he's not really that big of a guy. I think he can fight at 130 and 35, and he's not like a weight bully, because 140 is too big for him. But in regards to this fight, I thought that he was taking the punches well, though he was getting it up, but he was trying to find the distance to land the shot that he needed to. And he shook up Santa Cruz like 2-3 times, and eventually he got him out of there in impressive fashion. So I thought it was a good performance.
Just keep going. It's the subscription.
I thought that Santa Cruz did good, but he was never gonna really win this fight. And ultimately, he got knocked out, because this guy's a really hard puncher, man. He's really a hard puncher. And I think he might have problems, but that's a different story. Fighting other guys that are not going to be in there to trade punches with him, because Santa Cruz was there throwing shots, and all he had to do is punch in between Santa Cruz's punches. And that's what he was able to do, and he got the knockout. But when he faces other fighters, well, that's a different story, because he throws like 1 punch or 2 punches at a time. But that's a different story. But as far as this performance, the kid did well, and it was an impressive fight. And hats off to Leo Santa Cruz as well. But he probably was never going to win this fight. It was kind of like Canelo Khan, where Khan was leading up Canelo, but Canelo eventually got the knockout, similar. But anyways, that's all I had to say about this fight. And Munguia, he did okay. He looks like he's turning his punches over. He's still going to get hit. Most of the time, he knew he did well. That punch didn't look that powerful, but it got the job done. And the other fights, it was a pretty good weekend of boxing. So that's all I have to say.
Well, listen, man, we'll get to the Munguia fight later on. But you knocked it out of the park with your analysis there, Gonzalo, because it was apparent that, and I was surprised at this, because I thought one of the keys to victories would be to just tee off on Santa Cruz and bust his guard. But that guard was harder to penetrate than I thought. And like you said, it was actually better for Davis to punch in between Santa Cruz's punches, and that's how he ended up knocking him out. Precise, what did you think of the fight, and what do you think about Davis now that he took Santa Cruz out?
Tremendous comeback by what's his face?
Davis.
Tanky.
Thank you.
Davis. Yeah, I mean he got knocked down in the first round, was losing every single round, getting outpointed, and then just knocked him out in the end. So tremendous comeback against one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, 4 division champion. Amazing performance by Tank Davis. If you don't have him top 2 pound for pound, you're probably racist.
Yeah.
I think you're being sarcastic. I don't know. No, but you know what, man? I don't think he was losing every round, but he was. I thought, if you wanted to have Santa Cruz ahead, I wouldn't argue with that, man. He was, people can say, well, the punches weren't hurting him. Bullshit. The guy's face was marked up by the end of the fight. And when a black guy's got a shiner, you know that he was getting marked up.
I thought he got stunned in that knockdown wasn't a legit knockdown, but like I said in my video, had the roles been reversed, it would have been a knockdown for Davis. Had that been Santa Cruz hitting the deck. But anyway, even though the knockdown was, they definitely tripped, or he tripped. He did hit him with a nice, I think, left hook on the chin, and then when Davis got up, hit him with a couple more, and Davis just kind of stopped punching, and his feet looked heavy. I think he hit it pretty well, but I thought he was hurt, because to me, Santa Cruz understood that he had to fight this guy off. He had to sit on his shots to get some kind of respect, but ultimately I think that gassed him out, and Tank's just a much bigger man naturally. It didn't really look like it in the ring, but Leo, he may weigh, I don't know what he weighed, maybe even 140 on the night. I doubt it, but he's just useless at 130. Some of these guys look big at the weight, but their success is really when they're bullying smaller guys at the smaller weights, and I think that's the deal with Santa Cruz. So even though like physically he looks like he belongs at the weight, he doesn't punch hard enough for that weight.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a catch-22, huh? And I remember you were saying before the fight that Santa Cruz was going to spurg out and start slugging it out, which was something that I didn't want him to do. But surprisingly, he did well in certain spots. It's just that, like Gonzalo said, if you're going punch for punch with a bigger puncher, if he lands, he's got the advantage, and boom, he got taken out with a beauty.
You can land 3 punches on him. All he got to do is land 1, and he'll catch up to you eventually, right? So, and I think Leo understood that he wasn't going to get a decision. It didn't matter what he did, so he had to try to knock him out. And I think maybe that's why Pedraza felt like an idiot too, because these guys know they can't get a decision against them, so they just go for the gusto, I think.
Maybe, man. Yeah, maybe. And now, one thing that I like that Tank Davis did was he finally went for it later on. Because I was thinking, look, keys to victory were for Santa Cruz to stay on the outside and for Tank Davis to get off the leash. Stop trying to... Because when he was trying to box Santa Cruz from the outside, he was trying to catch him with that counter uppercut. And Santa Cruz was doing a very good job of shooting his shots and then immediately blocking the incoming fire from Tank Davis. And I was surprised by that. So when he finally decided to push Santa Cruz back and do what the bigger man was supposed to do, that's when he took him out. And I said, finally, there we go. Because he was supposed to take... Look, if he would have gone 12 rounds against Santa Cruz, it would have been disgusting. But he took him out like he should have, man. So at least he didn't pull an Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia and was able to take him out. Now, before I get to Bucho, I want to read a couple of super chats here. Luke Peterson says, Leo Santa Cruz took a dive. All right, Lucky boy. Thank you for your contribution. I think he's kidding. Ringside Charlie says, Tank and Mayweather mocking Mexican fans again. Come on. That's just their gimmick, man. I'm Mexican and I certainly don't see any racism behind it. Bucho, what was your assessment of the Santa Cruz versus Davis fight?
Yeah, I'm here. I think most of us were saying that it was a mismatch because of we were saying Leo Santa Cruz is too small. Some people were saying that Tank Davis was gonna run over Leo Santa Cruz. So now that we know that Tank Davis knocked out Leo Santa Cruz, is this some sort of surprise, man? like some people are acting like it was a 50-50 fight, and all of a sudden, Davis skills, managed to save him because he was losing the fight. He threw a fucking uppercut and knocked the guy out. Okay, like in my card, he was losing. I gave him round 4 and 5. That's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why these people are like going ape shit. Like, come on, man. Like he landed an uppercut. Okay, fine. Like, listen, Santa Cruz was fighting at 122 at some point.
Hey, Bucho.
And man, did you
sorry.
see Tank Davis's face, man? He was getting all busted up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Were you surprised, Bucho, that how clean some of those shots were landing from Santa Cruz?
I was. I was like, holy shit! Well, how the fuck? Tank Davis sucks, man. Like, he's good at. Yeah, what?
Just real quick, some people say, "Oh, Tank Davis was he didn't care because bullshit." He was getting hit a lot, flush by the other back's opponent, which was Pedraza. So I think it's apparent that his defense just ain't that good. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add that.
I mean, he sucks because I think. Listen, he's an okay fighter. Don't get me wrong. Like, maybe he beats Burchell, but come on, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't. I thought he was gonna knock him out earlier. And he was getting outboxed. He getting tagged. It's just Santa Cruz doesn't have enough power. But why was Tank Davis' face busted up?
Dude,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
If this was Golovkin versus Brook, people would have been saying it was 6-0, and Golovkin landed a lucky shot. That's what they'd be
Actually,
saying,
I was gonna mention that, man, because somebody was talking about like, oh, you guys were saying something else when Kell Brook fought Golovkin. Yeah, but Golovkin wasn't getting outboxed like that, and Golovkin didn't have to rely on one single fucking power shot that got knocked out Kell Brook. At some point, he was just a better boxer. Like, he was pinning on the ropes, mixing his punches up. Tank Davis was getting into a brawl with a former 122 pounder, man, former bantamweight actually. So
he was getting backed up to the ropes by I won't say a smaller guy, but yeah, a guy that came up in weight. He was making a lot of mistakes. He did look better than, I think this was his best performance all in all, because his stance wasn't as wide and that allowed him to move his feet a lot better. Even though I still thought that Santa Cruz got the upper hand, got the angle on him a few times and was able to pop him cleanly. But Tank, he's one of those lazy fighters that doesn't really, he fights down to the level of his opposition. So it's kind of a ripoff with this guy paying for all this bullshit. And to have someone like Leo Santa Cruz coming up in weight be his toughest test, at least on paper, and biggest step up, and a fight where he starts to show us something finally. I mean, that speaks for itself. That's like the expectations for Tank are so low. It's kind of pathetic, man.
And some people can say, well, this was sort of an off night. That's why he was getting tagged and whatever. But listen, did he have an off night as well with Gamboa? How many off nights are you gonna get? At some point, like, you start to realize that this is a guy's level, right? You can't make excuses for that guy all the time. Oh, he wasn't training. Well, now he trained, and he was still getting tagged up because that was one of the excuses with Tank Davis. Remember, he's not taking the sport seriously. He's not training. He's struggling to make weight. Blah blah blah. Now he's in good shape. Mayweather said that he was at 134 like a few days before the fight, so there was no struggle with the weight. And he struggled against Leo Santa Cruz. That's his level. I mean, he has power for sure. But man, listen, put him at 135 with these other guys, and it's not gonna be the same outcome, man. And people are gonna be shocked at that point because he's gonna get exposed.
Wouldn't have been surprised if Davis wouldn't have taken him out. I wouldn't have been surprised if Santa Cruz could have won a decision. That was the thing about the keys to victory. Don't get into an exchange with the guy. Now, look, maybe Tank Davis, because Tank Davis has that type of hands and body work that can wear guys down. It's like it numbs their muscles. You know what I mean? He's heavy-handed and he's fast too. So he's a double threat with that. But his defense just ain't all that. So if we're talking him fighting guys his own weight and top guys, he could be in trouble, man. He could be in trouble. And I kept saying, people, that said, oh, well, he's already at 134, man. He's 134, Charlie. Yeah, but those last 4 pounds can be a lot to lose in the last week. Gonzalo, hold on. Before we continue, we got a phone call real quick. We got a phone call. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. 610. You're on the air. 610.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yo, is that your real name, Charlie BDA?
What are you talking about?
I thought you said something Charlie. I don't know, but
it's slang from the 60s, from my time. Go ahead.
First, I want to, since we're on the Leo Tank fight, honestly, I didn't watch it. I didn't really expect much from it. I kind of assumed this type of outcome. It was kind of my dad that talked me out of buying it because I told him, I was like, Dad, this is kind of like a shit fight. I was at my parents' house. And I was like, but it's, something to do for an hour. And he was like, nah, we're not going to buy it if it's a miss. Nah, fuck that. And so I watched the Usyk Chisora fight earlier, and the hate Usyk is getting is freaking ridiculous. Nobody has an easy time with Chisora, and Usyk 8-4 him, 9-3, whatever. It was definitely not 7-5. Stunned him a couple times, and people are shitting on Usyk. What do you want the guy to do? Knock him out in the first round? Is that what you want?
What are they saying?
He hasn't boxed in over a year.
Give me some examples, and from which sources, like which cesspits are you going to get the information?
Well, I don't want to. I was on like Boxing Beats and Rhymes. I was on that. I don't know why. I was on the little fuck boys channel who was like, let me get this word. The little retard LDBC kid. Let me get this word. The kid with Tourette's. He's like, let me get this word.
But wait. Like, just to clarify, are those YouTubers that you're talking about, are they the ones criticizing him, or is it the chat room that is criticizing?
Yeah, they were not. I don't think our chat room is. Our chat room is pretty.
No, their chat room. I'm saying because I'm asking, are those you mentioned?
Precise's videos, and he was on point. He was saying like, this is a good, pretty much Usyk's first. You got to think of Usyk's record now. He beat Joyce in the amateurs. He beat Michael Hunter. He beat Bradis. Now he beat Chisora, pretty handedly. And Bradis gave him a way tougher fight. And, yeah, I mean, if anything, talk about the Bradis fight. But I thought Chisora, he boxed well. He was definitely he had some ring rust. That's, a fact. But to say if Usyk's not one of the top 3 most skilled guys at heavyweight, I thought he was pretty good, man. But the Tank fight, I didn't care. It was a staged fight.
I don't blame you.
Usyk's got 2 wins, and I'm not counting Chisora in this, but he already beat 2 top 10 heavyweights. Now, granted, it wasn't in a 12-round heavyweight fight, but I think Michael Hunter is a top 10 heavyweight, and Joe Joyce is a top 10 heavyweight, and he beat both of those guys. So, you got to give the man his respect. Like, he's definitely going to be a problem. He is a problem. He beat Chisora better than Dillian White the first time around, right? So better than maybe comparably to how what's his face Tyson Fury beat him the first time around. So if those guys, if Dillian White deserved, if Dillian White is a legit heavyweight and he was going to do this and that to Wilder, then Usyk is right there too, isn't it?
Hey, by the way,
who's the one that got hurt in that fight, Usyk or Chisora?
Good point.
Chisora,
rhetorical question.
No, but yeah,
I saw.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or go ahead, Precise.
Nah, you go ahead. I'll be here for a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Just let me say one more thing, guys. I thought Usyk definitely displayed some power that he hasn't really showed in the past. Maybe in the Bellew fight, but that was mostly Bellew fatiguing up. I definitely, because he stunned, there's no doubt, he stunned Chisora in the 7th round, and he was putting some, not saying all his shots, but he was putting some weight behind his shots. So I was saying, and nobody has an easy time with Chisora. Even when Tyson Fury stopped him, it was just because he was just hitting him too many times. And like, I thought Usyk, given what was at stake, how long he's been out of the ring, I thought it was a good performance, and I think he's a threat to I honestly think Wilder has got the best chance to beat him because you just have a puncher's chance, and that's Wilder. So that's all I got to say.
Hey, before you
thanks
go,
for having me on.
well, hold on, Jackson.
All
before you go, because I want to get back to the Santa Cruz thing, but before you go, I want to get your thoughts on real quick Inoue Maloney.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's a bum.
He's a bum.
No, don't say that.
Wait, all right. Take it easy, Jackson. Thank you for your call. And by the way, now that go hit the books. All right. Yeah, he left, but Jackson.
Hey, somebody in the chat, ringside Charlie's saying, "Bro, Usyk didn't look good. Just admit it." Like, listen, can I just say something else? Like that ring was super fucking small, man.
Hey, Bucho, before you continue, can you lower from where you're at or even change it because it's not Halloween anymore and it's too.
I'm on my phone. I gotta turn my.
All right. Well, when you have the time, But anyway, go ahead. Yeah. What were you gonna say about Usyk?
No, the ring was very small, man. Like super small, man. It was crazy. And then Usyk was getting hit with so many low blows. The referee wasn't even doing anything. So I don't know. I just found that weird.
You know what I was You know what I was impressed by? I was impressed by the fact that Usyk never tired. People don't understand how difficult it is to fight a guy that's on you, who's got 30, 40 pounds on you, and Usyk never tired. Well, I mean, he tired obviously, but he kept up. He kept up the consistency when it came to long power. And I think when it comes to attributes in the heavyweight division, that is something that could definitely take him a long way. By the way, Jackson, he's gonna hit the books because he's studying for a master's degree. He told us. And Jackson, once you're done with hitting the books, you can certainly go out and enjoy yourself, slay some of the college pussy that's out there, and you know what you gotta do, man. Now, I wanted to say, Gonzalo, real quick, because we'll get back to Usyk, Chisora. I wanted to ask you about the Davis Santa Cruz then. Santa Cruz tagged him, but Davis, to his credit, did what he had to, took him out of there. That was the baseline that he had to hit. I think it was a solid 70-30 type odds for the fight. You know, that Santa Cruz had a solid 30% chance if he did everything right just to make it 12, and obviously that didn't work out. Now with Tank Davis, his defense ain't all that great, but his offense is good. Stamina-wise, he seems like he's got to explode a lot and then take a break. What should he do? Should he stay at 130 or move to 135 and look for that big Teofimo Lopez fight?
Should stay at 130. Just stay at 130, get a few more defenses, then okay, move up to 135. What he needs to do is he needs to work more on being fluid and throw more combinations instead of looking for that one power shot. I mean, look, he did hurt Leo Santa Cruz like one round prior, but you know, Leo Santa Cruz, he was doing well and he was getting kind of nervous. I mean, and he did pick it up right around the time that he needed to, because if he would have waited around maybe later, who's to say that this fight doesn't go the distance? So there was when he hit him with that shot to the nuts, he seemed like he was pressed for time, right? That he was getting kind of like nervous, or like he had the feeling that of impending doom, like, you know, I have to do something because it might just slip away from me. Right. The rounds might start progressing, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to knock him out or not. But yeah, he did step it up when he needed to. And you could also tell by Mayweather's attitude that he was nervous. Similar to like Bill Clinton was in the 2016 elections with Hillary Clinton, you know, when he's jumping like a little girl, you know, like, hey, fucking, hopefully we will win, you know, but he didn't know. So
yeah,
that was Mayweather fucking biting his nails and shit.
Floyd is stupid, but not that. Floyd's stupid, but not that stupid, man. That's why he didn't want his fighter, was Davis, to fight Lomachenko. Remember, he didn't want him to fight. So now, after that performance, and like Gonzalo said, he was nervous. You could see Floyd Mayweather was nervous, and he was relieved by the stoppage. Now, do you think Floyd's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're ready to fight these lightweights"? No, man. Like, Floyd's smart. Like, he's gonna try to keep him at 130, because at 135, listen, it's gonna be another fucking struggle.
Hey, before we continue, real quick, shout out to Luke Peterson, who donated with the super chat again. He says Wilder is calling BFTB as a witness in the Fury trial.
We're gonna talk about that.
I don't want to
talk. Just real quick, BDA.
Go ahead.
To summarize what you asked me in 2-3 words, he should stay at 130 or 35. 140, I think, is out of the question, man. To be honest.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
140, man. Yeah. Now, listen, it's interesting because before the fight, and I know Gonzalo, I forget if any of you guys agree with us on this, but I know for a fact Gonzalo and I were talking about how, I know, yeah, Bucho too, that if Lopez could stun Lomachenko with power and make him weary, he could win a fight that way. And it turned out that he did. I don't see Davis doing that. I don't see the sharpness that Lopez has. I don't see the size. You know, he's strong, but he's not as, you know, he's shorter than Lomachenko. I don't see.
Loma beats this guy up, man. Loma beats this guy up and get out of it.
Yeah,
oh, man, precise. You don't go on Twitter, man. I mean, really some crazy ass comments, man. Like, Davis is going to end the hype job. Nah, they don't want that smoke. Yeah, I know.
I don't interact with retards. I really don't.
Oh,
Leo, guys, imagine this. What if Leo took off the first 6 rounds, right? Staying away, popping the jab, long right hand, maybe looking to counter, right? Maybe gave up 4 of those first 6, and then did what he did in the first 6 in the last 6 rounds. Like, chances are he goes 12. And maybe even makes a case for himself on the cards, right? But everyone would have said, no, he left it too late. He should have got knocked out in the 6th.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of perspective there.
Yeah. You know, reminiscent of Lomachenko. Yeah, go ahead.
You know who Tank Davis fights like, guys? I think an old Mike Tyson, not a prime Mike Tyson. He throws 1 punch at a time, 2 punches at a time. His conditioning might not be the greatest, I think, stamina-wise, but like a prime Mike Tyson would throw 2, 3 punch, 4 punch combinations, and Tank is not doing that.
Right, but he also, I mean, did Leo Santa Cruz facilitate Davis's job? And what? I mean, like Precise said, like, listen, from the get-go, Santa Cruz was fighting this guy, and Leo Santa Cruz was fighting Davis as if he were fighting little 118 Abner Morris. You know what I mean? Like, that was a wrong plan. I mean, I think can we agree on that? It was that completely wrong plan. Santa Cruz was. He's dumb. He was dumb. Like, you're fighting a bigger guy. Be a little bit smarter than that.
Yeah, let him punch at your guard for 6 rounds. Let him swing at air. Let him like lunge in and try to counter, and just move and gas him out. Take some of that power off, and I guarantee you, he's not going to be knocking you out with 1 punch late because he doesn't have that kind of power late. So whatever.
I think it was the right plan, Bucho. I'm going to tell you why. Because if he decided to box Santa Cruz, he wouldn't have had enough power where he was stepping in inside to land that punch that he was going to punch through the target. So I think he had to eat a few shots in order to land that one shot that he was going to be in position to hit him with, what that he was going to be able to punch through like he did with that uppercut through the target. So when he decided to box Santa Cruz, he probably wouldn't have been able to knock him out because he was taking the punches pretty well. But he just got with a shot that hard that shot that he hit him with was the one that knocked him out of the ballpark, man.
He's also trapped on the ropes, man. His back's on the ropes. Like, at that point, you're fighting a guy that he's harder than you. You want to exchange, be smart about it. You don't do it when your back's on, like, touching the ropes. He should have gotten out of there. But this guy still believes he's fighting 118 pounders. Go ahead.
How about clinch? When you're on the ropes, just grab a hold of him and spin him around. Like, basic shit. Real basic shit, right? It was a really dumb game plan. Yeah, it was a stupid game plan.
Well, listen, Santa Cruz, I mean, Davis did what he had to. Santa Cruz, he went to war. There was a point where Davis hurt him with a combination, and then Santa Cruz came right back and hit him with like 4 or 5 shots. I said, man, if Santa Cruz would have stayed at 126, he could have done great things. But again, that type of, he doesn't have a real promoter.
Sorry.
What I'm saying is he's got that lack of promotion. Let's face it, he doesn't have a real promoter, maybe not even a real manager, and it's a Mickey Mouse type of shindig over there. They do whatever they want, and I think he could have been a bigger star if he would have stayed at 126. But there you go, they threw him to the wolves against Davis.
He also takes this Mexican style too serious. Like, some of this Mexican have a Mexican style. Like, you also gotta be smart, man. Like, don't just fucking trade punches like that, especially when you know you're the smaller guy. Or maybe he actually, he saw Davis a little bit shorter and he felt like he was a bigger man. And I remember some boxers saying that when they fought Pacquiao, they underestimated Pacquiao because he looked small. I remember Marcus in the first fight, he's like, he looks smaller than I expected of mine. Then they just go in there and But anyways, for sure he wasn't that smart that night.
That
It was,
uppercut that
yeah.
Tank Davis landed, it rotated his neck up, his
Hmm.
chin. It really shook up his brain. That punch that he landed was a hell of a punch. If he doesn't land that punch, I don't know if Leo gets knocked out. That's the thing.
But Davis was landing the uppercut all night, and Leo wasn't doing anything about it. He just kind of leaned in and took it. It was, I don't know, man. I don't want to say too much, but that shit was just, that was a dumb way to fight, basically. Why did he do that? I don't care. But, like, and insofar as the whole Loma thing goes, first of all, that fight ain't happening, not until Loma's 40 years old. But if it does right now, look, if Leo Santa Cruz can land three clean, unobstructed punches on your chin in a sequence within like 10 seconds, you can't take that from Loma. There's no way he could take three clean punches on the jaw in the first round from Lomachenko and not go down. I just don't believe it. So, like, come on, man. The guy's got, he's talented. He's got some skills, but like they're just not developing him properly at all. And it's gonna end bad, or he's just gonna be a protected PBC chump. That's all.
I remember, man, in that Lopez Teofimo fight, I haven't rewatched it still, but I distinctly remember the second round because there's still some controversy about whether Lomachenko won the second round. I thought he caught Lopez clean with some counter left hands there. And I'm thinking, man, if Santa Cruz was lining him up, yes, lining him up with combinations, I shudder to think what Lomachenko's gonna do. But like Precise said, I think Mayweather's was shitting his thong there, and he's probably gonna say, you know what? Let's wait until Lomachenko's 41, maybe 43, and then maybe we'll fight him. By the way, shout out to Tony Yayo, who says, "You are amazing." No, Tony, you are amazing. Thank you for your contribution. And let me play a little quote here from Tony Yayo.
You want me to come in? We start over again, Mike?
Yeah, maybe we will start over again. I don't know.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy, Mike? You kidding me or what? You want to work 8, 10 fucking hours? You own nothing? You got nothing?
All right. Shout out to Tony Yayo, man, for the contribution. All right, so fellas, we're talking about Lomachenko, which is a bit more Davis, because it's a little bit more realistic if Lomachenko goes to 130. That being said, let's stick to 130 then before we talk about 135. I'm looking here at the landscape of super featherweight, according to Ring Magazine. Yeah. Andrew Cancio. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Does Lomachenko get caught with that uppercut? What are the chances he gets caught with that? I mean, because that's what bailed him out. Like, because if you remove the knockout, then yeah, go ahead.
But Butcher, watch the sequence before he lands that uppercut. He takes 3 or 4 clean punches from Leo. Mm-hmm. So he squared up. He literally squared up, stood in front of him with his hands up. Leo was able to punch through the guard, hit him cleanly, and then he just caught him. It was rock'em sock'em, basically. Like, you punch, okay, now I punch.
Exactly.
You punch, now I punch. Like, it wasn't anything special there.
Exactly,
yeah,
man.
That's what I'm saying. Remove. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, just real quick, the Teofimo Lopez had that quick uppercut, and I thought that was going to be one of his secret weapons against Lomachenko, but Lomachenko was making him miss and blocking it a lot. Now, to the body, it could work for Davis, but if he thinks he's just going to make Lomachenko trade with him and land a Hail Mary shot like that, I don't think it's going to work, man.
No, I don't think so, man.
By the way, fellas,
yeah.
Phone lines are open. Go ahead, Bucho.
Yeah, if you remove the knockout, what do you have? What did we see that day? We saw, like Precise and whatever you guys are saying, 2 guys fucking trading punches. We saw Davis with poor defense. He walks back straight lines. That's what we saw. We saw him getting busted up. Very little head movement, to be honest. I mean, at some point I was questioning whether Santa Cruz was small for Tank Davis because he was taking a lot of his punches. And the whole narrative before the fight was that he wasn't going to be able to take any fucking punches. And he was going to have to be on the move the whole time. And a lot of us were like Ellerby and Floyd Mayweather. We were like pissing our pants because, like, oh shit, the fuck. We weren't expecting that. By the way, look at Ellerby, whatever, the nostril guy, and Floyd Mayweather. After the fight, man, you see they look at each other for a few seconds, like relief, with a sigh of relief, man. Going like shit.
Do you think they fucked
That was
afterwards?
close. They probably made up, and they probably had sex after that.
I get that. I don't know why, but I imagine Leonard Ellerby when he's taking it, because let's face it, he was the one that takes it. I don't know why, but I imagine him squealing like a pig. Or he even he dresses like a pig or something. I don't know. That's just the image I get. I know it's disturbing, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I can't help it.
You like to dress up like a woman?
Now, wait a minute. Yeah, but listen. Okay, so I was going to, before I went into the disgusting image, I was going to talk about the landscape of 130. I think Tank Davis does very well against a lot of these super featherweights, man. I mean, come on, look. Andrew Cancio. He's a good slugger, but he gets overwhelmed in there. Because again, if he starts trading with a guy like Tank Davis who's got superior hand speed and power, it's over. Ito has a good chance. Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that. Ito has a good chance because he's tall. Alvarado has a good chance too because he's very active, but again, I think he could get overwhelmed in there. Tevin Farmer, I mean, has there been? I like the guy. I love his defensive moves, but he's a slapper. And ain't no way if he stands there on the inside against Davis, I think he gets taken out. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Who? Why talk about Tevin Farmer?
Tevin Farmer.
No, Tevin Farmer is kind of a bum. He's an Amero bum. I'd say he's like, because he really doesn't hit that hard, he's like a little bit of a level below Davis.
Yeah, that's it. Well, actually, I think he's got better defense than Davis. But your point still stands. He is like Davis, except he's a slapper. By the way, people in the chat room are saying, hold on real quick. Luke Peterson says, okay, Luke Peterson is urging Scripting College to call in. I don't think Scripting College is ever going to call in, man.
Never.
Blue Collar Sports says Burchelt is the only fight at 130 that I'd be interested in. Okay. Tevin Farmer, Nick Undisputed says Tevin Farmer, one eye looking at Tank, the other looking at the announcers. Come on, man. Nordic Kingdom says, as much as it pains me to say, I think Tank knocks Lomachenko out. If Lomachenko was in his late 20s, I would give him more of a chance. Ringside Charlie says Burchelt is better than Santa Cruz. PSK says, oh, you agree. SSB says Tank will KO Farmer and put his eyes in proper place. Oh, come on now. Wait a minute. That was, you know what? I think Stu had a point that chat room is a cesspit. Okay,
Fantastic,
real quick.
Please.
Santa Cruz was landing some good body shots, and Burchelt can land those. I mean, Burchelt has he's much harder than Santa Cruz. So
Burchelt is promoted by Zanfer, right, or something like that.
Some weird promotion, yeah.
So like it's a small time promotion. Have Tank fight. Have them co-promote a fight against somebody who's got clout like Golden Boy or Top Rank. You're gonna see a completely different fight. I guarantee you that. Okay. As long as these fights are under the PBC umbrella, expect the same outcome. All right. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right.
Real. The PBC fights, man. Half of those fucking fights are fixed. Get out.
Glorified club fights.
Look at, it's a bunch of fixed fucking fights, man. These guys are pussies, bums, and chumps, right?
I like
Santa Cruz in Texas. You know, they know they're gonna get a crowd because Mexicans, you know, they go to most of the fights. That's pretty much it, man. Like,
well, hold on, man. If they would have made the fight in Baltimore, we would all be saying, "Oh, he only fights in Baltimore." He fought the guys.
Yeah, well, he's from Baltimore, so.
Right. But anyway, listen, I wanted to get a phone call real quick, man.
It's still the United States.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. 626, you're on the air. 626.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's on your mind?
Hi, this is Chris K, also known as Undercover Asian.
Oh, how you doing, man? Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on the three big fights from last night.
Please.
So first up is Usyk Chisora. I think Usyk showed that his chin's pretty good at heavyweight. Also, of course, his defense was helping him mitigate those shots from Chisora. He had good power. Accuracy, I think, and timing had a lot to do with that, too. I think his work rate was too low to get Chisora out of there. Inoue, I was disappointed to see that he didn't go to the body much last night. But at the same time, maybe he figured he might as well go head hunting against a guy he's going to, just knock out anyway. Mm-hmm. So maybe he didn't feel like he needed to invest. And then, I caught the end of the Davis Santa Cruz fight, just in the sixth, was it the knockout round? Was the sixth round?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Santa Cruz was going to be, getting beat down, but it was pretty back and forth, and yeah, it was a good knockout, but at the same time, it was a really good punch. So what I mean is, it's not like Tank was, knocking Santa Cruz around the ring with every shot. He just landed a really, really good shot. And Santa Cruz kind of left his chin out there too, right? So, a really clean shot like that, of course, it's going to hurt anybody. It's not like Tank was pushing Santa Cruz around the whole time. So, yeah, I guess I'm just going to wait to see who the next bantamweight is that Tank will fight.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Who would you rather see? Because Inoue, apparently they're saying Casemiro is going to move up to 122. So
okay.
what's left? What would you rather see? What's the only logical fight left for you at bantamweight for Inoue?
Sorry, I made a joke about Tank. Actually, I was going to say, which featherweight is he going to fight next? So that's 126.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. You said that. I think you said bantamweight earlier.
Yeah, I got the weight classes mixed up sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know Casemiro was moving up. That's kind of disappointing, but maybe a rematch with Donaire, that could sell, I guess.
Yeah, maybe,
but
man.
I think
Yeah.
Donaire would just get murdered at this point. I mean, I think that was his last hurrah. It had to be, right?
Yeah, I'd rather see the Inoue against Casemiro, and if he can't do that, put him against Neri, and if he can't get any of those guys, well,
Rigondeaux, please. Can we see Rigondeaux, please? Pretty please.
I don't think Rigondeaux would take that fight.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either, man. Well, maybe a cash out or something, and if they do it in Japan, I mean,
he's desperate. Yeah.
Rigo's done it before, right? He's fought in Japan. By the way, I'm looking for photographs.
Yeah, but like the one time he did that.
Don't give him a payday.
Yeah, the one time he did that, he had a 2-fight deal, and he bought his way out of the second fight.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, by the way, I'm looking for photographs here because I was going to put up a photograph of Rigondeaux, and I just see this on MSN. Trump supporters surround bus on the interstate. They surrounded Biden's bus. They surrounded his bus and they start scaring the crap out of him. This election is going insane, man. I don't know what's going on.
Can you tell everyone I'm doing a Second Renaissance show during the election night, so on Tuesday. So stay tuned for the Second Renaissance.
No, so that's confirmed.
Edition. That's confirmed.
Damn. All right, there we go. Fine. All right, listen, Chris K, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that's about it. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if Golovkin's still fighting this month against Polish Bum, but yeah, I couldn't find anything. So
neither can I, man. I don't know. If he fights him, it's probably going to be announced. Yeah, it's probably going to be announced late. Because I mean, let's face it. I don't think he needs too much training for that one. All right, thank you, Chris K, for your call, man, and call back next time. All right, man.
Okay, thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man. Take her easy. All right, let's go to another phone call real quick. 860, you're on the air. 860. What's on your mind?
Yo.
Yes, you're on the air. 860.
Can you hear me?
Yes, 860. You're on the air, man.
Yo, what about? No, I just wanted to talk about Tank.
Go ahead.
I think Tank is one of the best fighters out there now. Like the way he fights, the way he's really smart. People don't give him a lot of credit. People just think that he just got power, but he got more than just power.
Yeah, he's got good boxing skills too, but we're talking high. Because again, look, we got to put things into perspective. There's two sides. Some people that say he sucks, and then you got people that say he's the best thing ever.
No.
In between, we got people like Stu.
He's not the best.
He's not Wilder. He's not Wilder.
He is like top. You could say top 10.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Listen, like I said earlier, I think he can beat a lot of the 130 pounders out there. Burchell could give him a good fight, but even then, I'm not. Go ahead.
Yeah, Devin Haney. Now we're talking about Devin Haney could definitely beat fucking Tank. Okay, he's quicker. I think he could definitely beat Tank.
Now, caller.
His style is so much better. Like Devin Haney's like a I say he's a top 2.
Top 2 what?
Top fucking pounder.
You think he's
out there, one of the best out there.
You think Tank Davis is a top 2 pound for pounder?
No, Tank Davis, I'll say he's like 3.
Whoa!
Now, no wonder he thinks Tank is smart. It doesn't take a lot to impress this guy.
Oh, come on! Now wait a minute. Now that's now I'm not gonna let you talk to Kevin number 2 that way. All right. Now listen.
Tank is gonna be.
Listen, I gotta ask you though, but I gotta ask you where you came out to that determination. Are you saying he's got pound for pound skills and that he has the potential to make it in the top 3, or are you saying like right now you have him top 3 over guys like Usyk, over guys like Canelo, over guys like Inoue who have cleaned out divisions?
The way they do it is different. They put this guy here that they, like it should be different. It should be like with the weight, with their own weight. I'm not talking about Canelo. Everybody's saying about Canelo Crawford, and that's different weights,
I don't understand. That's what, but that's pound for pound.
It's being number 1.
Are you saying that you think Tank Davis is the top 3 in his division, or in all of the world, in all the?
No, in his division, Tank is 2.
Okay.
Number 1.
You were starting to scare me there, Kevin. Number 2.
Lopez, I say he's number 3.
Okay, yeah. Well, Kev number 3 had me worried there for a little bit.
And
but listen,
Ryan Garcia, I'll say he's like in the. Ryan Garcia's got to be a 5. He's not better than these guys I just mentioned.
He's a 5 when it comes to the divisional rankings, but he's a 10 when it comes to looks. Let me tell you that much right now. Now, I gotta ask you, Kevin number 2.
Yeah.
Before we.
He's not.
Hey, Kevin number 2, are you still there?
Better than Ryan Garcia.
All right. Hey, by the way, before you go, who would you rather see Tank Davis in there against right now? If you were the boss of boxing and you could make any fight you wanted, Tank Davis versus who next?
Dude, forget Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney.
All right. There you got it.
That will be a good fight. Devin Haney. I mean, Teofimo Lopez, I think he got, but Tank, I think Tank is way smarter than him. Just like the mentality-wise, I think Tank is way smarter than him. But Devin Haney, he been, you know what I mean? Like, he been in Mayweather's fucking gym. Like, he grew up in that fucking thing.
That's right.
He got a lot of skills. Right? He definitely got a lot of skills. He's jab. He's smart. He's always, like, working. That's his life. Boxing is his life. That's why I say he's number 1.
There you go.
All he does is fucking work out, breathe, and fucking shit boxing.
There you go, man.
That gym is full of fucking killers, man. Tabiti, J. Leon Love. I mean, it's real rough in the Mayweather gym, man.
Love, he was the best.
Yeah, but the thing, it's not the point. The thing is the workout. Like when you live boxing, that's all he lives. That's why I say Devin Haney's one. That's why he wants to fight everybody. What do you think? Why do you think he wants to fight everybody? He's not. You think he's gonna risk his fucking? You think Devin Haney's gonna risk if he doesn't think he could beat all these guys?
All right, listen, that's a good point. That's a good question. Thank you for your call, Kevin number 2. We'll catch you on the next one. All right, my friend? We got to move on.
Take care, man.
Bon voyage, motherfucker.
All right, that was Kevin number 2. I should have asked him which nickname he wanted, but I decided to go with Kevin number 2.
Sounded like
you should have asked him if he ever heard of like Roman Gonzalez, or because I don't think he watches non-American boxing. Just saying,
he surprised me a little bit.
He mentioned something that's what's really wrong with boxing that I hope people get away from that mentality. He said, "Do you think Devin Haney's gonna risk his?" He wanted to say, "Oh." But that's what's wrong with boxing, man. That mentality that you want to protect that undefeated status is bullshit, man. That's what we want to get away from.
Exactly.
Yeah, Devin Haney, I could go across the street, beat up my neighbor, and order a WBC replica belt, and I would have the same lineage as Devin Haney.
Now, what would you do?
You want to know something about Mayweather gym? I'm gonna tell you right now why a lot of the guys out of that gym don't succeed. My theory. I was listening to St. Pierre talking about sparring, and he's saying that if you're going hard in sparring, you're an idiot. Like, sparring is supposed to be practice. You're supposed to be learning things, right? Building confidence, so on and so forth. These world famous gym wars in the Mayweather gym. They destroy fighters'
Ghetto.
confidence. They beat them up, and they crush them mentally, in my opinion, man. A lot of them. Look at Jay Leon Love. He's a pussy. Look at fucking Tabiti, like useless. Why? Because they probably got too many fucking ass whoopings in the gym, and they never got like built up properly. Just my theory on that.
And also, fight film. Their style is kind of ambiguous. I think they want to be fight like Mayweather, do the pad and that style in the styles. But you got fighters from different nationalities. Like Juan Heraldez is really a puncher, man. And in the press conference leading up to the fight before, he said, "I want to show some skills. I'm gonna box." And look, the dude got knocked out, man, in 3 rounds by Regis Prograis. And I think a lot of these Mexican-American fighters that are fighting there, they're trying to change up their style when they should be concentrating more on the style that, traditionally. I mean, yeah, there's good fighters that can punch and box as well. But what I'm saying, the styles between all these fighters is very ambiguous because that has a lot to do with the sparring too.
That's a great point, man. That's a great, yeah, it's true. Remember Lawrence Claybay? No, not Lawrence Claybay. What was the name of the guy that got knocked out by John Molina? And then he was another quick-handed. What was the name of the guy? And then he beat El Títere Vázquez in a very boring fight.
Mickey Bay.
Mickey Bay. Thank you, recognize. Yeah, Mickey Bay. Another fast dude. He tried to fight like Mayweather, got his ass knocked out, and then he just disappears off the face of the earth. Like they have no consistency over there. I don't know what it is. Like Gonzalo said, maybe it's because they're trying to all replicate what Mayweather does, and they forget that there's only one Mayweather. But anyway. By the way, we got Recognized and we got Unrivaled on the line as well. Recognized, fellas, Unrivaled, thank you for being on.
Thanks, man.
Want to get to... Listen, we're going to move on because we're talking about Gervonta Davis. If you want to chime in later on about that, we'll get to that. But I wanted to get to the Usyk-Chisora fight because Chisora was doing well the first 3 rounds. I was thinking, oh boy, I don't know if Usyk is going to make it out of there. With every shot that Chisora was landing, even if Usyk was blocking it, was moving him. And then after a while, he just started, making a miss, moving around the ring, landing a couple of couple of taps here and there. What did you guys think? Did you think he looked bad? Did you think he looked good? Like, let's start with Recognize. He just came in. What did you think of Usyk's performance?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty, I'm going to say it's the best he's ever looked, but, considering that he's been out of the ring for a year, Chisora kind of made it a dirty fight. I thought it was pretty good.
Were you a little surprised by the lack of hold on a sec. Who keeps calling me, man? Somebody's calling me on the Discord here. Were you surprised?
Somebody keeps calling me, and when they call me, it mutes me for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. Whoever's out there calling us on the Discord, just contact me if you have something to say, but don't call. All right, but yeah, were you surprised a little bit by the lack of punching power? Because it seems like Usyk, he likes to keep his legs straight. I think that's taking a bit of the... he just... All right. I think it's taking some of his power away because he doesn't bend his legs. What do you guys think? That worked in cruiserweight. Doesn't seem to be working too much at heavyweight. Or is that just a styles matchup? Because he just wanted to preserve speed and not go for power. Can anybody chime in on that one?
Yeah, man. It was a stylistic matchup. That's all. I mean, as everybody's saying, Usyk's just going to get ran over by any elite heavyweight now because he had a little bit of something to struggle with in the first couple of rounds with Derek. It's a little bit crazy. This dude applied constant pressure. No other heavyweight does that except maybe Fury in the Wilder fight. You don't see those guys doing that. And I thought he boxed really well, quite clinically, to be honest. I thought he won that fight with 9 rounds to 3.
Whoa.
And I thought 9 to 3. Yeah, I didn't see Chisora win more than 3 rounds. If you did, what are you scoring? 7 punches in comparison to 16? What's going on?
Yeah, what is going on?
Are you scoring low blows? Are you scoring rabbit punches on the back of the head?
I love me some body shots.
Chisora is bigger, so his punches should count more, and he's in the UK.
Yeah. That's how it works. That's how you score fights.
Yeah, people keep saying that.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say the biggest problem with that entire fight, right? Is Tony Bellew was working on that fight, and yet you could hear him screaming instructions as an extra cornerman for Chisora. That shouldn't be allowed. That's against British Boxing Board of Control rules.
No kidding.
He should be investigated for that.
Huh. I didn't know you were... Oh, yeah, that's why sometimes I've heard the announcers say, shut up. I mean, not the announcer, the ref. That's interesting, man. That's an interesting point there.
Hey, Tony Bellew said the fight could have gone either way.
He's
Tony
hating
Bell-
because Usyk threw him on the ground when they fought.
Listen, yeah, that's. I mean, I was the zone. I was watching the zone. I don't know if that was a Sky Sports commentary or if it was like an international broadcast, but I usually turn, if it's Sky Sports, I will usually turn it off, even though I can't tell the difference anymore. But when it comes to the actual fight, some people are saying, well, Usyk has no chance against any of the heavyweights because he struggled against Chisora. Who else fights like Chisora? Who else is going to just barge in there? I mean, I don't think Joshua.
Nobody.
Well, what's the name of that guy that everybody's talking about?
Chisora sometimes doesn't fight like Chisora. You look at his second fight against Fury, like he didn't do shit in that fight. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but he just gave that fight up for something. He wasn't
He
trying
didn't
to
cut the ring.
Fury.
Like
his coach. Yeah, people wanna make comparisons, but like I just rewatched that fight this morning, and his coach was like, "This is not you, Derek. You're so much better than this. What are you doing? Like, why aren't you throwing any punches? Like, why?" Like it's like he didn't want to get a shot at Vlad or something. I don't know what the fuck that shit was all about. But the point I'm trying to make is that Chisora came to fucking kill him in this fight. And whenever Chisora comes into the ring to do that, he will hurt Tyson Fury, almost knock him down. He will get robbed against someone like Dillian White, or he'll be winning against him and get knocked out. You know what I mean? Like Chisora has never really gotten over the hump, but he's tested every fucking body. So
I was going to ask, precise. I was going to ask everybody this: who did a better job dealing with Chisora, Dillian White in the first fight, or Usyk?
Usyk, of course.
Oh, Usyk, yeah.
So how's this dude just going to get run the fuck over by everybody?
Yep.
Well,
he clinically outboxed one of the most difficult pressure fighters in the heavyweight division.
And by the way, did Usyk answer the question of whether he can take a punch or not? Because let's remember, Chisora is a hard puncher. We've seen him in many fights, and especially that Spilka knockout. That was pretty fucking devastating. So he has power.
Chisora caught Usyk with the same overhand right that he knocked Carlos Takam out with. He caught Usyk with it, and he soaked it.
So is the question answered?
He'll get ran over on the score. He'll get ran over on the scorecard.
Bro,
by the way,
nobody in the heavyweight. Like if you take all the top 10 guys, maybe apart from Usyk, nobody can take a clean punch from anybody in the division. But the thing was that Usyk didn't really. Yeah, he took some good shots, but they weren't like perfect money shots that knock you out. So his chin looks about as good as any other heavyweight out there today.
Good point, man.
Right. It might even be better than Joshua's. I mean, come on, man.
Oh,
you
never know. Man. You never know. And by the way,
you also have to look at the fact that if he's not getting caught with those punches, that means that his defense is better than the other guys.
Right, because Chisora was throwing a lot of punches.
Yeah, Chisora was letting his hands go, man. You can't deny that. By the way, before we continue, we got Stu on the line. Stu, just to let you know, man, we're on the Usyk-Chisora fight, so I'm gonna have to go for a minute. So you take it away, Stu. You tell us, and you guys take control of the situation here. All right? You keep Stu in check for me. All right.
I'll keep him in check. Go ahead.
Well, yes, I did watch the fight. I was pretty wrecked while I was watching it. That's the problem. It was a long day, but look, it's what it is. I mean, I said Chisora would tell us where Usyk is. Usyk got the job done. Some people, a lot of UK fans are moaning at Usyk's performance and stuff, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get the big fights. I've seen so many times where fighters have just played the safe way to get there. Because, it could have all gone wrong for Usyk. If Usyk had lost that fight, it'd have gone horribly wrong for him. So, maybe it was just get the job done. And now he's in a prime position for Joshua. He's going to have to be a lot better than that to beat Joshua, I believe. But I still think he's capable of doing it. Yeah, I mean, again with Usyk, took him a while to get going, didn't it? His timing was off for a little bit. Just looked a bit ring rusty, if you ask me. But look, he's a very good fighter. You can see that, and he's going to be a problem for anyone.
Were you guys surprised that he managed to? Go ahead. Were you guys surprised that at some point Usyk managed to hurt Chisora?
No.
Look, anyway,
he has power.
I told you, mate. 15 stone hits you on the chin. Don't matter who you are. You're going over, mate, if you hit him properly. So, look, Usyk's if he's hurting Chisora, he can hurt Joshua because Chisora has got a very good chin. I mean, he's only been knocked out by a monster punch from David Haye and that left
He's
hook from
260.
Dillian White. Sorry,
Chisora's 260. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
he can.
Look, mate, he's a tough guy. He's been in there with the best of them. It's only David Haye and Dillian White that knocked him out. And to be fair, both fighters will tell you that's probably the best shots they've ever thrown in their careers, and that's what they had to throw to get rid of Chisora. So look, I mean, yeah, Chisora's that guy where he tells you where fighters are. When Chisora's in there with someone, he'll find out the people that are not good enough, and he'll get beat by the people that are. That's just where we are with Chisora.
But another thing with David Haye and Dillian White, they stand their ground and they fight you because they're big dudes and they have experience at the weight and they could take what they did at the time anyway, and they could take a decent punch. Usyk is not that kind of a guy. He's fleet-footed. He doesn't really set much, and he's very defensive. He doesn't want to get hit, but that also limits his own opportunities, right? If these two guys stand in front of each other and they bang at one another, whether it's Dillian White and Chisora or even Usyk and Chisora, it's a 50-50 fucking fight. Why would you do that at the heavyweight division? You want to minimize your opponent's chances of hitting you and maximize your chances of hitting him. But if you're going to do that, you got to give something up, like punching power, commitment, and you're not going to be able to put that kind of power on him. But at the same time, he won't be able to hit you with anything too hard either. So it's a trade-off.
I think we've seen it with a lot of fighters where they're in there with someone and their next fight is a big fight and they know it. They're in a real big fight in the next fight and they just go in there and play it safe because, like I said, in boxing, a defeat can just take a long way back. Do you know what I mean? It's not like football where you can put it right the next week. Boxing, it takes a long way back to back. And let's be real, I think Eddie Hearn and Joshua would probably want an excuse not to fight this guy because stars make fights. They probably don't want no part of Usyk right now. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough fight for Joshua. It is. I mean, it's a 50-50 fight. Don't get me wrong. Maybe just leaning towards Joshua at the moment for the size and obviously the better resume at heavyweight. But that's a close fight. But for me, I just don't think that was Usyk at his best. He played it safe for me.
If I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm avoiding. I'm telling Joshua, don't fight Usyk. And not because he can't beat him, just because it's a very dangerous fight and there's a big money fight with Tyson Fury. So why risk that fight?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But look, Usyk saying, Usyk saying, fight me or give up the belt. So look, Usyk's not willing to step aside. Yeah, I don't blame Usyk, mate. You've got to take your opportunities when they're there. Say if Tyson Fury beats the brakes off of Joshua, Tyson Fury's got no obligation to fight Usyk. Usyk could be waiting ages to get a title
That's
shot.
true.
So,
yeah. He could. So he's got to get the AJ fight or AJ gets stripped, right? That's the deal?
He will drop the belt. I guarantee you he will drop the belt.
I think so, too. I think so.
My only thing, this was the old version of Chisora. What if Usyk would have been fighting a Chisora that could have performed like he did in the first 2-3 rounds throughout the whole course of the 12 rounds? What's the deal with that?
Chisora, remember, it works both ways. You got Usyk who hasn't fought in over a year. That ring looked a little too. I don't know. Maybe it was regular size, but it kind of looked small to me. And
it was 20 foot inside the ring.
20 foot inside the ring.
Inside the ring.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Usyk's normally in 24 by 24.
Right. So it was a little small. Yeah, I mean, listen, it didn't affect him. I think you could look at that fight two ways. I think that the more Usyk has shown me that the more challenge you bring, the better he is because he has to be. He likes to think on the fly, so he punches on the fly. He's like moving and punching at the same time. So he fought the pace that Chisora brought, and I mean, look, he almost knocked him out, or at the very least, he hurt him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that taking everything into consideration, Usyk fought pretty good, and I think he would have beaten Chisora pretty much any time of his career.
What more could he have done? Because some people are complaining.
Yeah, knock him out. Like that's the best thing. That's the only thing. You could, basically, the only thing you're asking is just.
I think the only thing. This is what he needed to do for the people who are criticizing him, right, and against him. He could have gone in there, not get punched by Chisora at all, picked them apart, and knocked them out in the second round. That's the only way.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, some people were mentioning the body shots, I guess, but other than that, like,
He's got to be careful when he's in. He's
Which
he's
body
less
shot?
than two,
Was it the one?
he's
Was
less
it the
than
four that
220.
landed to the midsection, or the ones that landed to the nuts?
Oh,
Because there was a
No,
lot that landed to the nuts.
the criticism was that Usyk wasn't throwing enough body shots, and I'll tell you why. It's not that difficult. Chisora comes in head first. He leaves his body behind, and he throws these he leans into these looping crazy punches. So if you're Usyk, going to that body, you gotta extend and open yourself. Like it's a perfect
Completely leaving
opportunity for
yourself open.
Chisora. Yeah, for exactly the kind of punch that he loves to throw. It would have been idiotic to try to
Great
take him down
point.
to the body.
Great
kind of
point.
learned some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to understand these guys have a method to what they want to do. So maybe he's thinking like, oh, I could get this guy to reach in for a body shot and catch him with my best shot. And so
To be honest,
smarter than that.
so I'm not very impressed with Usyk, man, and I'm gonna tell you why. He's a very, very good fighter. He's probably technically the best guy out there. But sometimes, like I think Mr. BDA said, skills don't always pay the bills.
That's right.
And I would just favor a stronger
me.
guy, pound for
That
pound,
was me that said that.
that can throw power punches and take a good shot. And just got maybe lesser skills, but skills that are still good enough to compete against the lesser physical version of a Usyk that's more skilled, but just
that's
not the equivalent
I
of
think
what it would be.
Usyk's
Hold on,
problem
let
is-
Gonzalo
I think
finish.
Usyk's
Hold on.
problem is.
No,
Oh,
that's all. Go ahead. Go ahead. I would just favor somebody just more stronger that could hit a little harder. That still got skills, but that's all.
Yeah, I think Usyk's problem at heavyweight is I think it's a bit like Deontay. I think Usyk could be the same way. If you put a bit too much size on, it just slows your performance down. And I think he needs to be light. And he needs to be on his toes. I just think that extra bit of weight he's put on definitely slowed him down a little bit. And it's I don't think there's much flow and as much rhythm in his punches as well. It just it's probably like I said, it's settling in, but that it's probably not the best division for him. But Usyk is best as a cruiserweight for me. I mean, that's when he's doing his best skills, when he's light on his toes. I just probably think the extra weight's probably not helping him, like Deontay. I mean, it didn't help him, did it?
So
Wait till Gassiev gets a hold of some of these fucking slow plotting, highly ranked heavyweights. Just wait. It's going to be real interesting. You want to see a hard hitting cruiserweight, then you'll see what Usyk had to deal with once that guy gets a hold of some of these number 6, number 7 type guys.
That's a good. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm telling you, man.
He could look bad. He could look good. Depends on the style, man. And like Stu said, the weight too. With the weight, they pack on too much too early. It could be trouble.
Gassiev looks huge, bro, and he looks
Really?
filled out already.
Do you have a photo?
Did you see? Like, he looked like a monster against Nuri Safiri last night. I know it's only Nuri Safiri, but just the size of this dude, he's huge. By the way, he was fighting in the biggest ring I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I didn't see the
That
fight
ring
though.
was like 60 by 60.
What was his weight? What was his weight, Mark? I'm curious.
230.
Find out for you, actually.
230.
Yeah,
Look at that.
that was
So,
230.
Jeez,
so
Luis.
230. He can fill out to 230. He's listed at 6'4". So like an inch taller than Usyk. Usyk, who's 6'3", comes in at least the weigh-in. He's about a little less than
217.
Right. So he's 217, less than 220. I mean, there's just a look. I get it. What Gonzalo said. He can be defeated, but the guy has to be like with Usyk. Usyk has to be really careful as a heavyweight. And use all his skills to like beat these guys. And that's why it's interesting. Yeah, I agree. He could be beaten by one good punch, but he could also wear you out and fuck you up too because he's 217 pounds and he moves really fast for these guys.
Right. You know what? It's interesting though because I was asking who can fight like Chisora. I'm looking at the rankings here. I forgot to mention Oscar Rivas. He could probably put on that type of pressure. But other than that, man.
6 foot tall.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, but that's shorter could mean good too, because he could set up Usyk for one of those overhand shots. But we saw last night that he survived those overhand shots, and even when he couldn't avoid them, he took them. Real quick, I want to say something because also people were saying that I saw a couple of people in message boards and messaging us too on the BDA email saying Another hype job, another European hype job's about to get exposed. I'm thinking, they're all gone. They're not here now anymore to say anything. They came out of the woodwork when Lomachenko lost because they think, for some reason, they think that we're Eastern Europeans over here or that we're Russians or something. I don't know. But a lot of people came out that I'd never seen before. When Lomachenko lost, they came out and, which means they're listening. So I know you're listening out there. Let me just tell you something. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is the fattened. Oh, no, hold on. Better is a dinner of herbs. I'm fucking the quote up. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. In other words, if you get hatred for people that disagree with you every once in a while, and you want to hate your brothers and sisters, I got to tell you, it ain't going to work out. So today on this Holy Sunday, I suggest that you check yourself, look at yourselves in the mirrors, and then you come to grips with whatever demons are inside of you, all right? And if you want to talk about it, you can call in, and I'll put aside all this boxing stuff and just walk you through how to join Jesus Christ and our Holy Father in the sacred dinner of the Lamb, all right?
Amen, amen.
Thank you, man.
Andy Ruiz, an in-shape version of Andy Ruiz can put some pressure. I'm not talking about the guy that was chasing around fucking Joshua in the second fight, in the number 1 fight, and maybe Parker, because he's got a good chin. Now, I would have to say that a smaller version of a heavyweight would probably trouble Usyk more. So, in other words, not necessarily a cruiserweight like he was beating the elite guys in that division, but like a bigger version of a cruiserweight.
You mean like Andy Ruiz sort of fighter, sort of like quick in the pocket.
Quick in the pocket, yeah, put some pressure. And it's not necessarily that big where he's that lumbering, but still mobile, but more mobile than the top elite cruiserweights that he was beating. Basically,
so why, maybe Carlos
No, he's too old, man. He's too old.
But guys, why is everybody talking about Usyk versus these chumps? He's a Mando to one of the 2 top guys in the division. That's the next fight. Like, why are we talking about all these like chumps that don't have much of a chance against Usyk? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, don't you want to see the guy tested? Like,
I want to see him in there with Joshua.
I want to see him there with Joshua. That's all I care about.
That's the fight to make.
Just Parker's good. Parker's a good fighter, but like he's basically fighting Junior Fa and Alex Leopold, right?
Yeah, but the heavyweights are tied up too.
Hold on. One at a time, fellas, please. Go ahead, Unrivaled.
Joshua has a fight with Pulev, his mandatory, because he has to take on his mandatory. So after he fights his mandatory, he should fight Usyk in April.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I mean, why can't they make that fight? If the Fury fight's not there to make, Usyk has to be there. The next option. Because look, I don't want to see Joshua in there with anyone else but Fury or Usyk right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you this, Usyk's way more dangerous to him than Kubrat Pulev.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, outside in the streets, Kubrat Pulev might be more dangerous to women. No, I'm kidding. That was a Fugazi. They railroaded him with them.
Sorry,
that was not a woman.
Suit Joshua, that will. Pulev style will suit Joshua.
Precise said that was not... That was not a woman. Come on, man. No, but even, look, I'm kidding. Obviously, that was a Fugazi trial. They railroaded Kubrat Pulev, made him take a sensitivity training. Come on, man.
You think you're queer? I'm going to tell you something. We're all queer.
Shame on you!
Listen, they'll railroad him.
Don't be surprised. BDA, don't be surprised if he pulls a Sergey in this next fight. I'm just saying.
All right. Hold on. We got to take a phone call real quick. Let's go to 3-2. Hold on a second. 3-2-3. You're on the air. 3-2-3. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going? It's Greg Falco. I just wanted to talk about Usyk moving up.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about cruiserweights, any cruiserweight who's ever moved up and has had success in the division, one thing you notice right away is their speed. They always have a speed advantage in there, and their speed is always impressive. Like even David Haye, he didn't have the toughness to last at heavyweight. But the one thing he did have, he always had that speed advantage. Evander Holyfield, same thing. When he moved up to heavyweight, he was way faster than everyone he fought. Usyk, he's just not showing that. He's not showing that against his opponents. And I think any top 5 heavyweight takes him out.
Oh, any top 5 heavyweight. Well, you're saying that he did look slower than I expected. That's for sure. But it could have. Do you think it could have something to do with the styles?
With his what?
With the styles. I mean, Chisora came in from the get-go
Well, yeah, Chisora, he's a rough and tumble guy, but still, you can see that speed. You can see that speed advantage, especially against a second-rate guy like Chisora. I mean, David Haye knocked him out in 5 rounds, and Usyk's going the distance with him. That's not a good sign. To me, it kind of shows that maybe Usyk doesn't have what it takes to make it a heavyweight.
Well, go ahead, Stu.
That's just what I'm
Look,
seeing.
Chisora went the distance with Vitaly Klitschko. Are you going to say Vitaly's not a good fight? I mean, look, it doesn't mean anything. Why do people go, "Oh, we didn't stop that guy"? It doesn't mean anything.
He performs well, and sometimes he doesn't. Vitaly almost got stopped by Chris Bird. In fact, I think he did.
Oh, God. Yeah,
nah, but hold on. That was a shoulder. But that was a shoulder injury. He was beating him, and then
right. But that's still something that actually happened. So he's an inconsistent type of fighter, especially at that stage of his career. He wasn't always the tough guy he came to be known as. Before the Lennox Lewis fight, people thought he was kind of a quitter, and he kind of deserved that reputation because of that.
But wait, I mean, he dislocated his shoulder.
He got pulled out in the Lennox fight. He didn't quit. He got pulled out.
Right.
He wanted to keep going.
He dislocated his shoulder in the 11th round against a much smaller opponent. I mean, if he was a tough guy, he could have just powered through that.
Well, if you've ever dislocated your shoulder and sometimes it's grating pain, you can't even move.
Mate. You can't even. Trust me. Someone has broke their collarbone. I broke my collarbone in a couple of places playing rugby.
Wait. Did he just say Vitaly Klitschko was not a tough guy? Come on.
Yeah.
Man. Give it up already. Just give it up.
Well, if you quit against a guy you outweigh by 50 pounds, that's kind of a bad sign for a boxer.
But if the pain is overwhelming,
I want to add something in too.
Listen, I broke my collarbone in 2 places playing rugby, and I can assure you, you cut every movement in your body, it hurts. I mean, every
Roberto Duran quit because he had a tummy ache. You telling me that's not a tough guy? Like things happen.
I'm gonna
like
tell you,
you're not. Hold on. 1 second.
Roberto Duran
you're not.
Quit in that fight.
Hold on 1 second. Can I finish what I have to say, please?
Go ahead.
The guy, look, you're not in the guy's head. You know what's going to happen. You want to call him a quitter or whatever, that's fine. For me to be able to say that about a guy, you need someone who has a history of doing that sort of thing repeatedly. One time, anything could happen one time. You want to call Klitschko soft because of that one thing? Come on, man, that's ridiculous.
And by the way, we're getting away from the original subject, which was because we're talking about Chisora's performances. Yeah, what
I was trying to point out was that Usyk hasn't looked impressive at heavyweight so far, while other cruiserweights who have had success at heavyweight have at this point in their career.
Well, David Haye certainly looks.
So here's what you have to remember, and people are forgetting this. Usyk is a decorated amateur boxer. He's a boxer. That's his style. If you're expecting him to go in there and slug it out with people and smash them in 2 rounds, that's not what he does. That's not his style.
Well, that's what
you
I'm
knew
saying.
that when you first saw him at cruiserweight. That's not his style. Okay, if he wins every round, it doesn't really matter. If you think he should knock out Derek Chisora, which even Vitaly Klitschko didn't do, and he was one of the biggest punchers the division's seen.
Another cruiserweight.
Yeah, but go and look at them shots. Go and look at the shots what it took to knock Chisora out. That shot from David Haye would have knocked out a Buffalo. I mean, that left hook from Dillian White. I mean,
even David Haye.
If that left hook had landed on Wilder would still be asleep now. So, I think they're big shots they was taking to get him out of there.
Look,
Usyk, I never fancied Usyk to stop Chisora. I said Usyk on points. I just didn't think he has enough pop in his punches to stop Chisora. But look, he hurt Chisora on occasions, and he got the job done.
Look, here's something that I think we can all agree on. David Haye had more explosiveness than Usyk and better punching power because when he was a cruiserweight, the guys that he was fighting, he was stopping them. But then we saw that he didn't really have he lacked certain technical fundamentals to make it in the heavyweight division. When it comes to Usyk, he doesn't have Haye's punching power, but he is better schooled. And with the attributes he has, such as that jab, better footwork than David Haye, better defense, although not by much, because he does get hit, and he does have better stamina. He has better stamina than David Haye. So it could, listen, he passed the test against Chisora. If you want to say that he wasn't with flying colors, fine. Let's see what happens later on, man, when he starts fighting guys that aren't going to be jumping all over him
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Can you ask the
once he fights a full-size heavyweight, a guy who's 6'6", 240, 250 pounds, things aren't going to go that great for him.
Well, we're gonna see.
How would Chris Bird or Holyfield? How would they have done against this Chisora that we saw yesterday?
What's that?
How would Chris Bird or Evander Holyfield? How would they have fought this Chisora that we saw yesterday that was coming forward?
Well, I think for one thing, Evander Holyfield would have been a lot more explosive. I think he would have turned a lot more on Chisora, given him more angles, and knocked him out. I think Evander Holyfield stops Derek Chisora. I really don't doubt that. And as for Chris Bird, I think he just puts on a boxing clinic. He doesn't let Chisora touch him, ever. The only guy who touched him consistently was Klitschko and maybe Ibuchi when he knocked him out.
Freso Kendo.
He was pretty good defensively.
Freso Kendo and Andrew Galata no, I don't think Andrew Galata didn't drop him, but yeah, Freso Kendo, he got robbed in that fight against Chris Bird. Go ahead, Stu.
I think the difference between Hay, sorry, there's a call talking, I can't really hear, but the difference between Hay and Usyk is, I think Hay panics when he's under pressure, when he's on the back foot. When you push Hay back, he's not very comfortable fighting on the back foot. He's not. And he gets sloppy and he gets wild and desperate, where Usyk's calm and collective. And that's why I think he conserves the tank a bit better than Hay, because Hay's blowing after 5 or 6. If you go back and watch that Chisora fight, I reckon if Hay hadn't landed that shot when he did, if that carried on another round or two, I think Chisora would have got the job done, because Hay was blowing, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's just different styles of fight. Hay's explosive, he loads up on his punches. Usyk doesn't. Usyk picks his shots and picks his moments. And like I said, it can be quite boring at times, but it's what you like, isn't it?
Well, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to have to find out, like I said earlier, how is he going to do against taller heavyweights? Because guys like Joshua...
I just want to point out something about
hold on, caller. Hold on. I don't think Joshua's going to fight Usyk the same way Chisora did. I don't think Pulev is going to do it either. I think a guy like Oscar Rivas could put a lot of pressure. The guy that I would not bet to beat, that Usyk could beat, rather, I think Fury, he's just way too big and way too heavy. And he's going to, if he can do what Chisora did, but he's going to do it better, man, because he's heavier and he's just a better fighter than Chisora. That's a fight
arms, you can hit him in shorter range.
Right.
So far, he's fought guys who are around 6'2", 6'3". Once he goes against guys who are 6'6", 6'7", 6'9". Last night, Usyk was backing up from punches. He's not going to be able to do that against a guy like Fury, even Wilder. If he fought Wilder, I'd pick Wilder to knock him out.
But now,
he's not going to be able to deal with that length of those big heavyweights.
Now, but hold on. Now, what gives you the impression that, because, I mean, obviously, if Wilder hits it, like you said, it's going to take one shot. But if he can't land that one shot, because Spilka was, come on, man, let's not even mention what he was doing to Wilder. Usyk versus, he's a better fighter than Spilka. Wilder's not going to put that pressure on like Chisora did. He's going to be looking for one shot at a time. And even, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if maybe Usyk actually backs him up. The way he was doing with Joey Joyce in certain spots.
I doubt it. The thing, too, about Usyk is even at cruiserweight, he was always kind of the bigger guy. His biggest performances, I'd say, were against Bellew and Bradis. And even against them in a cruiserweight match, he was the bigger guy. He's always been the bigger guy. So now that the tables have turned, I don't think he's just going to have success against heavyweights.
But against Wilder,
his style.
Right, I got
when
that.
You're looking
at
Wilder, but
hold on, reverse. I want to add something. But against Wilder, it wouldn't be that much of a difference in weight, because Wilder's about 215, 220, and
true. But he has almost 5 inches in height, and he just has freakish power. He has the power of a true heavyweight. He can weigh whatever you want him, 212 pounds, but he hits like a heavyweight.
Look, this Wilder thing. Wilder is not 6'7", like they say. Throw that out the window. And neither is Fury 6'9". Those are exaggerated claims. Wilder is more like 6'6", 6'5 and a half. Well, actually 6'6", 6.5. Like and Usyk really is about 6 feet. I would say 6'3". So right there, I don't see a 5-inch height.
A little under, but yeah, he's close.
I don't
Why
see a
the fuck
5
would
inch.
Usyk fight Wilder? Like, why are we even talking about an irrelevant
Literally
chump?
makes
Like,
no sense.
Well,
no
we're
sense
talking.
whatsoever.
Wilder's still top
We're
10.
talking type
Wilder's still top
any
10 whether you
fantasy
like him or
matchups here.
not.
And
We're talking
also,
matchups.
if you're gonna criticize Usyk and the things he does, you also gotta remember the shortcomings of his potential opponents. When Wilder and Joshua are in the ring, they're not exactly putting on master classes. Joshua got smacked around by a fat cholo,
Oh,
and
come on.
Wilder loses the first 6 rounds of every other fight he is in.
Well, if you're gonna,
and he
if
needs
you're
his
gonna
power
think
to
Andy
save
Ruiz
him.
is just some fat cholo, then you don't know boxing, man. He's one of the most skilled guys at heavyweight, possibly of all time.
Yeah, but he's got no work ethic, though.
That
That's the
guy's
problem.
a big version of James Toney at heavyweight.
Yeah, he's got no work ethic. Well, he's got the work
Wait,
ethic of
what?
James
What
Toney.
did he just say? What did this guy just say?
I
He
don't
said
know.
Andy Ruiz is possibly one of the
I
most
said
skilled
Andy
heavyweights
Ruiz
of
is
all
one of the
time.
most skilled heavyweights of all time.
All right.
I stand behind that.
All right, caller. We're gonna have to move on because we got other calls. Thank you for your call, and we'll catch you on the next
please.
one. All right, man.
All right.
Hey, by the way, hold on. What do we call? Hold on. What do we call you? Otherwise, I have to give you a nickname.
Falco.
Falco. All right. Take it
I'm
easy,
one of
Falco.
your people here, Greg Falco. All right.
Direct Falco. Take it easy, man. Thank you for your call. All right. Let's go to 850. You're on the air. 850.
Yo, what's going on, BDA? This is JR Boxing Source.
How you doing, man? Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. I see that y'all were talking about Usyk and his performance against Derek Chisora.
Del Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like Chisora pretty much blew his load in those first 3 rounds, and he telegraphed every right hand that he threw in that fight. And I would like to see, what Usyk does against, higher ranked heavyweights before, he goes up against the likes of a Joshua, even though he is the mandatory for the WBO heavyweight championship.
Mm-hmm. Listen, yeah, man, because Usyk did have to toil in there. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, he had to work hard in there. He was at 100%. And, I was against the guy. It's hard to fight a guy that's putting pressure on you. But like I keep harping on this. I don't see other heavyweights fighting the same way Chisora did. I don't see Joshua just, Chisora could have done that against the Cam. He didn't do it. Stu, go ahead. I think I heard you saying something.
No, I was agreeing with you because the thing with Chisora is that, you could basically see a lot of the things that he does. He doesn't really set up any type of shots that he throws. Whereas higher ranked heavyweights or more elite heavyweights who will be able to set up their shots, have a more established jab. And
yeah, but do you have anyone in mind? It's all right saying these are the sort of fighters he should be fighting, but do you have anyone in mind? Because I don't. With them attributes right now, you tell me who the guy is that you're thinking, because I can't think of anyone. That's the problem here.
What, as far as like a barometer, so to speak?
No, you name a fighter that you'd like to see him in there with, and like that has them attributes that you're saying.
Like my thing would be like put Usyk against someone like a Joseph Parker, a former world champion, and see how he does against him.
You give us a name. Would you like to see Usyk in there with the winner of Povetkin v White?
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a definitely good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine Povetkin Usyk in Moscow? Sounds good.
Yeah, that was.
I'd rather it in Kiev. I'd rather it in Kiev. That dude's already been to Moscow.
Yeah, fair enough. But I just don't think that. I mean, even the Klitschko's don't fight in Kiev, do they? I mean,
that's true.
I just don't. Lomachenko's don't fight there. Just the Ukrainians just don't fight there. I don't think there's a passion for boxing really amongst the fans. I think they breed
the economy's in the trash can, bro.
Passionate. Well, unless it's the money's just not there. I don't know, but they're not fighting in Ukraine. I don't think Usyk will fight.
There's no money over there.
I just don't think Usyk will fight in the Ukraine either. I think if anything, that fight would be in Moscow with the big Russians putting up the money. I mean, it's a propaganda thing, isn't it? I mean, they don't like the Ukraine at the best of times, so Povetkin v Usyk could be really big over there. Yeah.
Hey, caller. Okay.
No, this is like it keeps pissing me off. I don't know why. Because when we talk about Tank Davis, there are like 2 or 3 fights we want to see him in. But when it comes to fucking Usyk, like put him in with this guy, that guy, this guy could beat him, that guy. No. There are 2 fights for Usyk right now. Okay, it's either Joshua or the winner of Joshua Fury or whoever he has to fight for that WBO title. And who's in the rankings? It's the winner of Joyce Let's talk about real fights. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
anyone could find a style that's bad for Usyk. Why should he fight that guy? It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
If the WBO belt goes vacant, I'm pretty sure it's going to be he's going to fight the winner of Joseph Parker and Junior Fa, because Junior Fa's ranked number 6 in the WBO and Parker's 3, so he'll go ahead of Daniel Dubois in those rankings if he wins that. So it'll be against Parker.
So how would Usyk Parker not be a real fight?
That would be a real fight. That's a legit possibility. He's ranked 3. Parker's ranked 3 in the WBO. Dubois ranked number 2. Junior Fa's ranked 6, and Joyce is unranked with the
You know what? That's a fight that makes sense. That fight makes sense. If it makes sense, it makes sense. Let's talk about like real fights, not fucking Povetkin. For what?
But then let's go back and say
Povetkin's a good fight. How can Povetkin use it not be a good fight in Moscow? That's a good fight. I'd rather see him fight him than Parker in front of nobody.
Dude, I agree with you, but the fight will never happen because it doesn't make any sense for Usyk to fight Povetkin. Let's talk about real fights. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're talking about based on the rankings.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to name fighters for the caller because this caller's saying he wants to see him in with this guy, but with these sort of attributes. But I can't think of many heavyweights with them sort of attributes.
That's exactly what they're doing, Stu. Like, let me say this. This is exactly what they're doing because they're afraid of Usyk fighting Joshua because they've seen Joshua on his ass. They've seen him knocked out by a fat bum, and they don't want Usyk in there. They want to beat Usyk up before he gets to the fucking protected, cash cow. That's really what this is about. So just keep it fucking real, clowns.
Maybe so, man.
Whoa. There is nobody that is afraid of seeing a matchup between Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Come on.
Then let's talk about that fight. Let's talk about that fight.
Let's talk about that fight. I like that fight. It's a good fight.
You know what, man? Because you guys were talking. First of all, you guys were talking about Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is essentially he's a heavyweight. He weights, but he's got fast hands. But he's not gonna do what Chisora did because that's what people look. We're all basing what Usyk's potential heavyweight campaign based on what happened last night. Again, I gotta reiterate: if he fights Joseph Parker is gonna fight him from the outside. He's not gonna fight him like he fought that other cruiserweight he fought a couple of months ago. You know what I mean? And if he does, he's gonna have to walk through what Usyk. I mean, it's not in his style. So,
that'd be a stinking fight. BDA. Yeah, that'd be a stinking fight. I can assure you.
Gassiev will sleep Joseph Parker. Forget about Joe Parker, man. He's sea level.
All right. By the way, hold on a second. Before we continue, because we got other phone calls. Caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Nah, not necessarily. Just wanted to touch on that. But like after Usyk Joshua, then what for Usyk? Y'all gonna have to answer for that. So once he has that fight, then what? Just think about that. Thanks.
I don't understand. What if he wins after that fight?
Way to make it personal. I mean,
he was making it
everything you need to know.
Oh, okay. I thought he was saying like what happened after that. Okay, yeah. You see, but that's what I don't like.
No,
that's what I don't understand. If these guys have there's a lot of people out there that got a problem with us. I don't understand what the fuck the problem is. Like, just come out and say straight up what's going on. It's like anyway. I don't want to have to.
Some of these guys hate Usyk so much, man.
That's really what it is.
It's basically just host shit. So if you don't like Usyk, because he doesn't look like you basically just have to create fake criticisms. And anybody who approves of him, they're on that team, so to speak. And they're your enemies.
You could sniff these guys out from a mile fucking away. The reason why they're talking about all these irrelevant fights is because they want to beat the guy up before he gets to the big one.
Well, I think
they are scared for AJ.
The guy calling didn't give. The guy calling his boxing source. I think he said he had another name, but anyway, I think he's the guy that says he calls. Says nothing personal about what I said. Well, he did make a personal boxing source because he said, "Well, you guys are going to have to answer for what? We're talking boxing. Like people make this out to be politics.
We're part of his camp."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we want to see the fight. It's not like we're picking. Has anyone here even said that they're picking Usyk over Joshua?
Exactly.
It's like we work for Usyk, and if something bad happens,
we just want to see the fight, man. He's the mandatory challenger. Everybody's talking about AJ has to fight his mandatories.
You know what?
I think
people take things. I think people take things literally or something. Like it has to be either or. They don't understand that we just delve into the ether and we look at all sides of a potential matchup. That's all we're saying. But people seem to think like we have to pick somebody, and if we pick them, that means we're rooting for them. That's not how it works, you fucking autist.
This is how I look at the whole Usyk situation.
Go ahead.
This is how I look at the whole Usyk situation. Okay, he beat Chisora. What's next? He's the WBO Mando. Either he's going to fight Joshua, or he's going to fight for a vacant belt. That's the way I look at it. You know,
dude. Well,
I don't
when
want him
Dillian
to
White
fight.
was the mandatory.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, when Dillian White was the mandatory, oh my God, to Deontay Wilder, right? All this crying, bitching and moaning. And I agree, Deontay Wilder should have taken that fight and knocked him the fuck out. Big deal. But now that we have a big fight on the horizon, whether it's Usyk Fury, Usyk AJ, or Usyk for the WBO title, they're all big fights. Why? Why do we need to see this guy that's like gonna leave his prime soon? He's not going to be as good. Why do we need to see him against like these C-B level guys? For what fucking reason?
Well, I think
all that it is haterism, man. It's haterism.
I do think there's some of that. I do think there's some of that. I do think there's some hate against Usyk, but there are also other people that want to see Usyk against another heavyweight to see how he could do against Joshua. I can understand that point as well.
But why does that matter if he's the mandatory right now?
Well, that's a good point too. Because listen, you know me, I don't follow these fucking title rankings. The titles to me, the alphabet soups, they can go to hell. But the point is this, Usyk, like I keep saying, Usyk against anybody else, it would be an interesting fight. But if he becomes the mandatory for any of these top 3 heavyweights, then just go ahead and do it and see what happens. You know, it's like
if you want to add to it, like they're saying, oh, I want to see him against this because I don't think he's ready. Okay, that's not for you or me or anybody in this podcast to decide. That's for him and Joshua to decide. If he believes that he is ready, then he should just take the fight. Okay, well, the only reason you say that, you want him to just fight this guy or that guy because you want him to get hit with a lucky punch or you want him to get robbed.
Well, listen. Okay, let's go to Mark.
How he fights Joseph Parker. How he fights Oscar Rivas. How he fights Derek Chisora, Carlos Takam, how he fights Junior Fa, ain't going to tell us jack shit about him and Anthony Joshua. They're different styles.
Exactly.
Very well said.
Exactly.
Very well said.
That's why I always said that Chisora is going to be, at least physically, the tougher fight than AJ. AJ might outbox him with the long jab or whatever, and maybe even knock him out, catch him with something hard. But Chisora, for me, was always going to be a harder fight for him than someone like AJ. Give me fucking AJ or give me Fury. Why? Like I've never seen this with any other boxer, where they say, "Oh, Errol Spence needs to fight, all these welterweights before he can fight Terrence Crawford, or Terrence Crawford needs to fight this guy, that guy." No, they just want to see the top 2 guys. We have top 3 guys right now. Wilder, for the time being, is eliminated. We got Fury, AJ, and Usyk, and these 3 need to sort it out. That's it.
Honestly, that hadn't crossed my mind. Let him fight Joshua. Let him fight Tyson Fury, let him fight the champs. But I was thinking along the lines of like, okay, Chisora has lost like 10 times, and Chad Witherspoon, he's really like a nobody. I'm going to go ahead and call him a bum. So he needs to fight the champions or a fighter that's better than the guys he's faced at heavyweight. That hadn't even crossed my mind, to be fair. I think some people might be thinking like I am.
Here's what we're going to do, man. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a film analysis on Usyk and some of the top heavyweights. And we're gonna, because I want everybody to get a voice in on this. I want the people that want Usyk to fight other guys to see if he's ready. And I want you, some of you guys here who think that Usyk should just fuck all that and just jump in there straight with the top 3 or top 2 heavyweights. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this. All right, hold on a second. Before we continue though, because we got a bunch of phone calls to get through here real quick. Time's running out. 314, you're on the air. 314.
What's up, guys? Hey, I keep thinking about Usyk versus Joshua. I think the Chisora fight kind of showed, if you look at like Joshua versus Klitschko, his big success was big giant flurries, but then he was spent afterwards. And if he survived, Chisora is a stud. He's a bull. And if he was taking those flurries, and if he can get through a big round to Joshua, and then he's just got time to pick him apart afterwards. Joshua's not going to outbox him.
But caller, here's something that surprised me from Usyk was, because for me, his jab is one of his main weapons. He wasn't landing that jab all that much. What do you think happened there?
No, I think it was just space. What I didn't understand with Usyk last night was when he did that, like, I don't know if you call it, whatever it is, that southpaw where you step to the right and go around the guy. He wasn't throwing that left at all. Like, there were a lot of times I thought he had it wide open to hit Chisora, and he just wasn't doing it. He was so, holding back so much, that didn't make sense to me.
Well, I think it was the overhand rights that were making him keep that left hand in check a little bit. But, I mean, look,
he hurt his hand. Just FYI, the guy hurt his hand.
I don't know. I didn't hear that. But go ahead, Stu.
I never heard that, but...
I think
I really the only person I think that I don't understand, I don't know how he would fight him would be Fury. Just because Fury will do that lay back on the ropes. I don't know how he reaches him. But I think he beats Wilder easy, and I think Joshua was a really good fight to see if he can survive Joshua's Fury.
I don't know if I would say
Fury,
easy.
Flurry.
I don't know if I would say easy, because, I mean, it is heavyweight boxing. But listen, if he fight, here's the other thing for everybody. Here's the other side of the coin. If he fights a taller guy, he's punching up. He's not punching down. Against Chisora, he was punching down, and that overhand right was keeping him honest. I guess the guy
was quite crafty as well. Chisora's quite crafty as well. You know, it's not quite easy to hit with a jab. You know, he's coming in low and he's moving his head. And, you know, that's the way he has to fight, because he's a brawler, isn't it? There's no boxing, there's no jab or anything with Chisora. It's just coming forward and swing. So he has to be crafty when he's coming inside.
Yeah.
I think he's learned to be that. He's not easy to. You can't just put ones and twos on him, and they're going to land all the time. And let's be real, if you come short with a jab, then usually Chisora comes underneath with a hook or something, you know, or a big uppercut. You could be in a lot of trouble. So Chisora and Joshua are just different styles altogether. So just because he looked not amazing against Chisora, Joshua's style could suit him. I'm not saying it will. I think Joshua's going to be a lot harder fight for him than Chisora, that's for sure.
Who, out of the people that Usyk has beaten, who fights more like Joshua? Who? Gassiev.
But I was just going to say Gassiev was probably the closest one for me. And yeah, I agree with you,
Except he's faster. He's faster than Joshua, and he's got more tricks up his sleeve. He's more skillful than Joshua. But
just the length and range thing that's the difference.
Exactly, but that's what makes it a good fight. That's what because you can see how either guy could win. So it's a good fight.
Hey, fellas, hold on, real quick. Fellas, real quick, because the phone lines are about to close in 10 minutes, and I got a whole bunch to get through. So let's just power through them right away. 314. Anything else you want to say?
I'm real excited with what's going on. I thought that was a good sign for him that he survived the Chisora fight, because I think Chisora is like a kind of a monster. It's like for showing what you can do kind of fight. And I'm excited. Like I said, I think he pretty much I think other than Joshua and Fury, I don't know who else really competes with him.
All right. Yeah, well, there you go. Well, we'll see, man. I mean, again, it's heavyweight boxing. It's not going to be easy. It wasn't easy last night, and we'll see what happens. Thank you for your call, and you keep that excitement in check, all right? Otherwise, I'm going to have to say something about that. Take it easy, man.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, the thing with Chisora, I mean, David Hay had to dig deep to win that fight, but Charlie Klitschko had to dig deep. Do you know what I mean? And so he's the sort of guy that he makes you constantly work. But Usyk, like I said, Usyk could have gone another 12 after that. So he's definitely a fit guy, and I think that's probably his strongest weapon in the heavyweight division. Where when Joshua and people like that are blowing after, and Wilder are blowing after 4 and 5,
exactly.
That's when
Stamina.
Hey, fellas,
it's going to be a huge factor.
Absolutely, man. I agree, man. I agree. Let's get to another phone call real quick because we're running out of time on the phone lines here. 832, you're on the air. 832.
What up, BDA? What up, boys? I was thinking about it while listening to the podcast. Why does Usyk want Anthony Joshua so much? What does he see in Joshua that he can export? You know, out of all the heavyweights right now,
caller, can you? Caller, sorry to interrupt you, but you're sounding very low. We can barely hear you. Can you stick as close to your phone as possible, please?
How about now?
You sound fantastic, baby. Go ahead.
All right. Well, my whole thing is Usyk's always been adamant on Anthony Joshua. But what do you guys see just from the eye test? What is it that Usyk wants that he can exploit from Anthony Joshua? Because in my opinion, Anthony Joshua is like leagues ahead of Derek Chisora now. I like Derek Chisora, but Derek Chisora is probably like the number one mid-tier heavyweight. Anthony Joshua is probably the number one heavyweight in the world, tied with
All right, hold on. Let's let Mark. All right, we got your question, caller. Mark, you want to take that one first? I see.
Yeah, I think what he's looking at is the way Joshua reloads his jab. I think he's looking to roll underneath that jab every time he reloads it and catch him at an angle, and I think he thinks he can fight him in the center of the ring. Joshua doesn't particularly walk you down. He can't pin fighters down, getting them to the ropes like Tyson Fury could. If you look at the way Joshua goes, he uses his feet, he keeps that guard. Usyk likes to work off of a guard as well. Most people don't know that, but he loves to dissect guards and look for blind spots off of them. He wants to fight him in the center of the ring, make it a boxing match, and pretty much turn off of Joshua's mid-range. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he's looking at.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark, because I think if Usyk's playing around and hanging along too long in mid-range, he's going to get his head taken off, because that's where Joshua's at his most dangerous. It's one thing about Joshua, very explosive, and he throws nice combinations. He's not just throwing single shots at you. So if you're in that mid-range area, hanging around too long, you could be on the end of a couple, and that could be night. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, look, I mean, Joshua's a tough fight for anyone.
Yeah, man.
Real.
Yeah.
What's to make him reset his feet? Nobody's made Joshua reset his feet yet.
Yeah.
What southpaw did Joshua beat?
Charles Martin, the king. Come on, Charles Martin, the king, the emperor.
Does he know how to get foot position? Is he going to be able to get foot position on a guy who's got quick feet and he's moving left and right? How about why do you think Joshua ducked Luis Ortiz?
Oh, wait a minute now. Wow. Okay, we can get into that later. But okay, 832. Anything else you want to say before we move on? Because we're running out of time on the phone calls, and I want to give everybody a chance.
All I'm going to say is that Usyk, he sent a couple of Ukrainian hookers to Solomon's office so he can get that super cruiserweight done. He can become a champion there, because these heavyweights are big-ass blocks. And if you had a hard time with the power of Derek Chisora, which is probably one of the smaller heavyweights, although he is bulky, you can have a hard-ass fucking time with these mega steroid motherfucking heavyweights. So
all right.
I think he needs to brace that super cruiser. All right, Kelly.
Thank you for your call, man. And try to fix that phone a little bit, man, because it's a little too low. It sounds like he's underwater, man. Terrible. Sounds like he's talking from my aquarium with all those. Anyway, let's go real quick because we're running out of time here on the phone lines. 470, you're on the air. 470.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I caught the Usyk fight with Chisora. On one hand, I was impressed that he was able to, withstand Chisora. Chisora came in at 255 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically read everything Chisora was going to do. You could see what he was going to throw before he threw it. On the other hand, though, and I know Chisora was a little bit lighter back at that time in 2012, Chisora was knocked out by another former cruiserweight, David Hay, in 4 rounds, I think. So the eye test, I don't think Usyk has the power. I think he can beat pretty much all the heavyweights outside of Fury and Anthony Joshua. I think if Joshua goes back to a more aggressive approach, I just think there's too much speed, skill, and athleticism for Usyk to deal with in a 12-round fight.
Yeah, man. If he catches,
Chisora just doesn't have the reflexes or the athleticism to. But I just don't see how Usyk is going to deal with that over 12 rounds.
Look, man, if Joshua catches Usyk with one of those uppercuts, it's gonna look like Davis Santa Cruz from last night. But if he can keep him away, then it could be interesting, man. Could be interesting. All right, caller. I'm sorry to do this. We gotta cut it short because we're running. We've got 4 minutes left on the phone line. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
The other thing, Tank Davis. There's a lot of hype around this guy. I just want to see him in there with somebody his own size, ranked in his weight class. That's all I got.
All right. No, well, that's plenty, baby. Thank you for calling in, man. We'll catch you on the next one. All right, man? Take it easy.
All right.
All right. Last phone call, and then we can get back to the panel here. Last phone call before the phone lines close. 585. You're on the air. 585.
Oh, man.
How you doing, Mr. BDA? This is
all right. Now, is this serendipity or that he's the final caller? All right. Go ahead, Vinny. What's on your mind, man?
Yes, Mr. BDA. What's on my mind is Mr. Gervonta Tank Davis.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Mr. BDA,
Mm-hmm.
did you see that knockout? That's
Hey, fuck you. You talk to him.
Sir, that's definitely skill. Unbelievable, Mr. BDA. I was so happy. unbelievable. That's all I can say. I'm lost for words for Mr. Tank Davis. He always impresses me every time out, and this is no exception.
You just the
Okay, bye. Just bye.
Is that all, Vinny?
Yes, Mr. BDA. One more thing, Mr. Usyk, ugliest man in boxing. Definitely impressed me, especially me, Mr. BDA, with his boxing skills. Chisora was huge in there, and Usyk was able to outbox him for 12 rounds, but I do not see any way possible he can beat Mr. Wilder or Mr. Joshua.
What about Fury?
How did you manage to bring Wilder into this?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. BDA. Yes, I do believe he has a shot against Fury with those pillows.
Right, he has a chance with the white guy, but that's his brother.
Yeah, he beats the white guy up, and the black guy's killing him inside a couple of rounds.
Yeah, you know what I like about you, Vinny? You don't let these haters get to you, man. Because that's what these guys are, man. They're fucking haters. They don't
Don't feed him anymore, please, BDA. Don't feed the troll.
Hey, Vinny, man, let me tell you, man, if you want to become the Lord of Boxing, you come see me, man. I'm taking you under my wing, and I'll put you in shape, man. What do you think about that?
Well, Mr. BDA, not this year. I'm undefeated, 2-0 in my big fight prediction.
No, you're not.
And I think maybe
you're not. He lost the Wilder pick. Don't let him get away with that. He lost the Wilder pick.
All right, listen.
When you get one wrong, Vinny, you go missing for about 6 weeks. So we forget about it, and then you come back when you get a couple right. You know what I mean?
Yes, I want to put you in a snuff film. What do you think about that? Like you the victim.
Mr. Recognize.
Oh man.
90 seconds. He picked Leo Santa Cruz last night. Thank you.
He was to put me in the snuff film.
Leo Santa Cruz.
Oh man.
Vinny.
That was Vinny. Hold on a second.
Yes, Mr. Stuart Little.
Go ahead, Stu, man. Tell him what you want to say, man.
No, it's Vinny there. It's Vinny there.
He's still here, man. Come on.
Vinny.
Yes.
How you doing, my friend?
60 seconds.
So listen quickly. So who's your top heavyweight now, then? I want to know who Vinny thinks is the best heavyweight in the world, because I know he's a big Wilder fan. I'm sure you can't say. So who's your... Actually, name your top 3 heavyweight in order for me, please, just so I know where you are.
Yes, Mr. Stuart Little. I have still Deontay Wilder as number 1 as default because of Mr. Fury's illegal hands in the fight.
Okay.
I also have Mr. Daniel Dubois, who I think is really good.
Did you say you have Daniel Dubois too?
All right, hold on.
I also have Mr. Anthony Joshua.
All right, that's fantastic. Vinny,
10 seconds.
We got a couple of seconds left. I know Recognize is going to want to say goodbye to you before you leave, but before that, there's somebody on the air. He's called Old Man Johnson, and he wants to ask you a question. Old Man Johnson, go ahead. What do you want to ask him?
Are you now, or have you ever been a homosexual?
He wants to know if you've ever been or are now a homosexual.
No, Mr. BDA. I have plenty of women. Also, I just want to let everyone know
what
in
a
the chat
big man you are.
America has been down the drain, and look where we're at now, guys. So let's all vote and vote Joe Biden 2020, please. Thank you, Mr. BDA.
All right, recognize. You do what you got to do, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Bye. Just bye.
Go drown in a river.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you for calling in, man. All right.
Dismiss. That dude's on the same nasal drip as Billy Joe Saunders, man. I swear.
Oh, jeez, Louis. No, I like him. Sometimes he goes a little too far.
He's been on it before, Billy Joe.
All right. Well,
What the fuck you doing? Nothing. I was here. It's a joke.
I think he's on the same drip as fucking Ricky Hatton and Kawasaki, mate.
Oh man,
I'm not a Christian. I'm a Luciferian.
That line about You wanted to see? You want to see Vinny in a snuff film? Oh man, that was good.
My Lord and Savior Lucifer.
Yeah, put him in a snuff film though. Put him in a snuff film.
And it'd preferably be like the fate of Joe Pesci in Casino. That'd be a nice shoot. Really get that baseball bat to death.
Yeah, you're gonna put Vinny in there with Machine and see what happens, man. All right. Listen, fellas.
He got an English class from Freddie Roach.
Oh, come on. now Vinny's a good guy. He's just misunderstood. All right, so the phone lines are closed.
Thank you for using Blog Talk.
Shut up, you fucking cunt. Listen, I'm probably gonna open up the StreamYard. Oh, I heard somebody popping up a beer. Who popped a beer right now? On
Not me. That was me. That was me choking.
That was you choking on what? You know what? Don't answer that question.
On a clementine.
All right.
That's a crazy, man. Come on.
Shout out to Virtuoso who says, speaking of which, Wilder vs. Fury 2 is on Pornhub. All right, now wait a minute. Come on. You know what?
It actually is. It actually is. It says brutal one-sided gangbang.
Oh, no, wait. No, see that? No. All right, so listen.
But that's what it says.
All right, let me go to Pornhub and put it up. See what we show people what we're talking about.
I didn't get sick as fucking fucked.
Well, listen, I understand the callers' points of view on Usyk. I know some people aren't convinced. I certainly thought, like I said, he had to labor in there. I thought it would have been a little easier for him, but it just goes to show, look, second fight against a heavyweight, maybe, and it was a tough style matchup. Let's see what he does. By the way, can I say, just real quick, for anybody, just check BDA Live and write Usyk. It was, I think it was called the panelists watch Usyk versus Joyce, because we all watched together 2 years ago. We watched Usyk versus Joyce, and we're watching the highlights, and we commented on it. So check that one out if you want to see how he does against a tall, big heavyweight. And go ahead, Stu. What were you going to say?
On Pornhub, it says BBC gets owned by BWC.
It does say that.
But yo,
there for you to see.
After Junior Fa beats Parker, watch Usyk Junior Fa. Watch that one.
Wait, what? No, hold on. Precise. Fa ain't beating Parker. Have you watched Fa recently? He's gone to shit. He got dropped by Dominic Gwynn.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute.
I just don't. I don't rate Parker. I'm sorry. I think Parker's overrated.
You really don't. The thing with Joseph Parker, right? You'd think he was a Frenchman when it comes to fucking will to win and to fight. You know,
psycho.
Well, he just doesn't. It's like he could have beat Dillian White that night. He just didn't fancy it, did he? He just didn't want to let his hands go. It was just a terrible performance from him. And the only time he did decide to let his hands go, Dillian White staggering all over the fucking shop. So why did he do that? He went in there with Joshua, happy to survive at the end, smiling, taking pictures, happy to be alive. Still, do you know what I mean? It's just never goes in there and wants to take. He doesn't seem one of these guys that wants to be a world champion. Do you know what I mean? You know, some guys are just fucking
too much pressure, man.
Not Parker. Yeah. Parker keeps getting opportunity after opportunity, and he always comes short.
And by the way,
he doesn't have the grit to just grab it by the balls and just pull the shit out of those balls.
Exactly, Mark. That's probably the point I was trying to say. He seems to have a knack of throwing fights away he can win. Do you know what I mean?
I understand everything you said, Stu, but did you have to throw the French under the bus? I mean, the other day was the Chinese, now it's the French. Who's next, man? Midgets? I mean, come on, stop being so bigoted, man.
The Mexicans, how about that? The Mexicans.
He does fight a bit like a midget, though. He kind of fights a little bit tentatively, and he's kind of backing off away as though he's being backed into a corner by a Wolverine.
First of all, Mark, never say that's an insult to midgets. Have you ever seen a midget fight? They got balls of steel, man. One of them went after me, hit me in the chin, and it hurt a lot. And I said, okay, let's not get into a fight, midget guy. So, I mean, we didn't actually fight, but
for your knees down, he was a dead man.
Yeah, that's not what I heard. I heard BDA did the fucking Dan Henderson on him, and then the flying elbow on top afterwards.
Hey, Stu, did you see that? Because I know you haven't done a what's his called? What's his name? The Canadian guy. The guy who was in the Ghostbusters. What was his name again?
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis. Did you see a couple of weeks ago? He got assaulted in New York.
Did he?
Yeah, somebody punched him in the face.
He did.
Hey, who'd want to hurt fucking Rick Moranis? I mean, you realize Kate started on Rick Moranis, didn't you?
You know what's funny? The guy just. I mean, it's not funny, but
No, it was funny.
Obviously, he didn't know
It
who he
is
was.
funny.
He just came up to him and started beating the living shit out of him, man.
I'm
It's on
pretty
video,
funny.
too.
I mean, listen,
It's on video. It's on video.
Imagine just imagine starting a fight with Rick Morales. I mean, have a word with yourself, man.
Guaranteed win.
I know there's degenerates out there, man.
Yeah, but
I mean,
did this guy think he was going to get props on the internet? Yeah, look at me. I'm the guy that beat Rick Morales' ass, isn't it?
That's fucking funny, man. I'll give him props. But he just walked up to Rick Moranis and battering the shit out of him.
Beat up a member from the Ghostbusters. Which one? The little one, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, the little one. You know, the really little one. That one.
Which was the little one? The one from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah, that one. That's
that one.
Hey, how many times have you?
He got beat up in Central Park. Like he was just walking around. I don't know what he thought, because that area has always been a little weird. But he's just walking around minding his own business, and this guy just starts wailing on him for some reason.
Oh, come on, that's not funny, man. Come on, now why are you guys laughing,
I'm
man?
just
Come
saying,
on.
that's like walking past Warwick Davis and laying into him. I mean, who'd want to do that?
I get. He had to come up with those two, Rick Moranis and Warwick Davis. Those are the two standard Stu references.
My two favorite guys when it comes to midgets.
wait, Rick Moranis is not a midget, man. What are you talking about?
Same place where the guy from the Beatles got killed. You know that, right?
Rick Moranis is only about fucking a couple of inches bigger than Warwick Davis, surely.
Here's the crazy thing, Stu. You're gonna find this like a huge coincidence. Where he got beat up was the same place where the guy from the Beatles got killed.
The guy from the Beatles. Put a little respect on the name. You're talking about John Lennon. Come on.
John Lennon. There you go.
How about
Sarandon?
BDA? How about Susan Sarandon? How's she looking nowadays?
Hang on a minute. The fight scout in the chat says,
you?
"Damn, Rick Moranis got slept."
Nah, he
Yeah, he did, man.
I should laugh really, man. But
Hold on,
sleeping Rick Moranis, man. Come on, man.
Zalo, what'd you say?
How about
Should laugh.
Okay, Stu, are you done?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Hey, so how about Susan Sarandon? How's she looking nowadays? Is she still looking all right?
I don't know. I'm not reading. Hold on.
I don't even know who that is.
Let me open up. Let me open up my issue of Cosmo and see what the fuck you talking about, Gonzalo. You think I know like what these celebrities look like nowadays?
Who is
It's,
she exactly?
it's the girl that came out in Ghostbusters.
I know who she.
She's old, huh? She's old.
Wait a minute.
She's
Susan Sarandon
like
was
a joke to me, man.
Yeah.
I would.
Are you on about Sigourney Weaver?
No, he's talking about
Sigourney-
Susan Sarandon.
Oh,
But she wasn't in
Sigourney
Ghostbusters.
Weaver. Is that Susan Sarandon or Sigourney Weaver? That's a gilf right there.
She liked it in
Oh
the ass.
yeah. The only one I was interested in was
Gonzalo, you know Sigourney.
I would do it.
Hey, you know Sigourney Weaver was born intersex.
Wait, get the fuck. What?
What do you mean by
Yeah.
that?
She had a tiny penis where a clitoris goes. Basically. Yeah, she was a hermaphrodite. She was born a hermaphrodite.
I was just about to say he was hot in Alien as well. I was just about to say that.
Hey,
No, I
hold on a
like
second.
Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone. She was nice.
I'm gonna
Stone-
say,
Sharon
Precise,
Stone
you
is a thing,
ruined
though.
my childhood with that sentence. You ruined my childhood.
Hey man, let me tell you
Sharon
something,
Stone
man.
in Casino. That's my kind of girl, man.
I like
cocaine
Julia
whores. I
Roberts
love
too,
them.
for some reason.
Yeah,
Julia
cocaine
Roberts.
whores. I love them sort of girls.
Let me tell you, now that you guys told me that Sigourney Weaver is intersex, I would only fuck her once, just once, but I would still fuck her.
Where? Which hole?
Which part are you fucking?
Yeah, which part are you gonna have sex?
Just out of
I would take
curiosity, innit, BJ?
Susan
Just out
Sarandon.
of curiosity, man.
What about Madonna in her prime? Madonna.
What the fuck is going on here? What the fuck's it look like going on? Fucking your daughter.
Oh, okay, now hold on. Who's playing those sound effects? Come on, let's listen.
Me.
Yo, hold on. Was that Mark Rockwell?
I don't know who that was. I don't know who's playing that. Listen, fellas,
How do
let's
you
get
know?
back.
Diane Lane.
That was
Diane
Mark
Lane
Rockwell.
recognized.
Let's
Or
get
Ashley
back to.
Judd.
Shut up. Let's get
All
back
right,
to boxing.
enough with porn and let's get back to boxing. Come on.
Yes,
I've
please.
seen
Thank
that
you.
scene.
Oh, I bet you have. You fucking dirty Mick. Now listen, we got to get back to boxing here, man. And I've seen it too, by the way, 3 times. But midway through, I started to lose interest in the movie.
Today.
Hey, what did you got? I didn't catch you guys talking about Tank and what's his name? Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
Leo
we're not gonna
Santa
talk about
Cruz.
that again.
Hey, can I mention one thing that pissed me off about the Zone's broadcast?
God, these people are fucking biased. I mean, can you make it look a little interesting? I'm gonna give you a fight that I thought they were terrible in.
Cambosa's
Selby versus Cambosa. Okay, the second they're going into the 5th round, and I don't know about you guys. I'm watching the fight too. You know, if Cambosa keeps fighting like this, he's not going to win a single round. I'm like, you didn't think he won like at least 1 or 2 in the first 4 rounds?
They
like,
had
what the fuck was
8-2
Selby
after
doing?
10, recognize.
Huh?
They had an 8-2 after 10 rounds to Selby on DAZN's broadcast.
I know. This was terrible. I'm like, these.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know who they are. I don't know their names, but they were bad. They were extra bad.
That's not the worst. That's not the worst piece of commentary I've heard on DAZN this week. I'll tell you what is. During the Elwin Soto versus Buitrago fight, right? Chris Mannix was talking about he has no passion, like Manny Pacquiao. He's aloof. He doesn't show much passion. He said Manny Pacquiao wasn't passionate in the ring. That is single-handedly the dumbest piece of commentary I've ever heard.
What a fucking loser, man.
Hey, by the way, yeah, the Sky commentary, man. It's gotta be. I mean, Stu's told us all about it too. Before we continue, let's
just don't pay for DAZN anymore.
Let's go real quick to
Steal
Guerrero.
all of your fights from the internet.
Let's go real quick to Guerrero de la Info, who's on the line here on stream. Guerrero, are you there? Guerrero de la Info, are you there? Oh, hold on. I got you on mute. Hold on. Go ahead.
What's up, fellas?
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Yeah, doing good. How do you like Inoue's performance?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Great.
Let's go in order. Let's start with Mark. Mark, what did you think about Inoue Malone?
Performed very well. Dissected them. Maloney couldn't really bother him. Did whatever he wanted with him. Jabbed really well. Very fast. Moved pretty well. And the knockout was really well. He did what I expected him to do. He beat up a guy who wasn't good enough to be in the ring with him. And that's not saying Maloney isn't a good fighter. It's just he's way ahead of those like 10, 9s, 8s, and 7s in the bantamweight division. There's only a couple of guys who could even give him a worthwhile fight. That's like Casemiro, Daenerys. Neri's moved up, so he's out of the equation right now. But Casemiro and Daenerys and Ubali are the only ones who might have anything for him. And even then, I favour him to beat them all.
So if he's like, because I remember when people were saying that about Errol Spence, like, oh, well, he's gonna run through all these guys. Should he just move up to 122 already and get it over with?
No. I want him to go undisputed at bantamweight because we haven't had a lineal or undisputed champion at bantamweight since 1987.
Oh, since 1987. I was still in the industry back
33 years.
then.
It's the longest weight division without a lineal champion.
Oh, you know what I was doing in 87 or who I was doing? All right. Well, I mean, what did everybody else think? I got to drop off for a minute here, so you guys take over, man, and talk about Inoue Maloney. Go ahead. Don't be shy.
It was a fantastic
That was a good performance.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He's got good timing with that right hand.
Pretty much everything was landing. The left, the right, uppercuts, hooks.
Look, he beat the shit out of Maloney, but he did what he wanted, whatever he wanted.
He assaulted him.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't expect anything different, to be honest with you. I mean, I gave Maloney 0.
It almost looked like a snuff film, basically.
Yeah, he just had 0 chance of winning that fight. It was just pointless. It's just a pointless fight.
Look, Maloney got power. He got power. He's got 18 knockouts in 21 fights, and I'm surprised that Inoue was was able to deal with the power. So I mean, he can pretty much hold up to anybody's power in that division.
This is my point with Gonzalo. You're a very knowledgeable guy, Gonzalo, but you go by stats too much, bro. You use the stats too much. That's the American in you, that is, because the Americans love a stat, don't they?
Nonito would have knocked him out when he was younger.
All right, he knocked over 18 people. Let's go and look at these fucking bums that he fought, that he knocked over. Let's go.
Who are they?
The Hebrew Hammer's got 24 KOs or something like that. The fucking guy's
but who are they? Who are they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, like I'm asking you. Who are they?
The Hebrew Hammer fight. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm asking you. Who are these people?
He lost his split decision to Emmanuel Rodriguez. He beat up Leonardo Baez. He's a good fighter. I'm saying he knew that
he's a pretty good dude.
Yeah, but you know he's that much better. That's all I was trying to say.
That Rodriguez fight was a very impressive win. That was an impressive performance.
Okay, now I go now. How about it?
Go ahead.
I think the thing for me that stood out, because that's always been my criticism of Inoue, seeing as he's always getting tagged by these little dudes, but it has no effect on him, and he just hits them and they can't take it. That's always been my criticism. How tough is he? The skill is there, the power is there. He's always getting better. He's a student of the game, superb fighter, excellent technique. Love it, love it, love it. How tough is he? I think the last couple of fights, even this one, proved to us that he's a tough guy. He fought with now hold on a minute, with an orbital bone, broken orbital bone, right? We know some guys who get that sort of thing going and they lose that fight and then they come back, they're never the same. Okay, so if Inoue has proved anything for me, and that's the one thing that I wanted to see from him, is that he's fucking tough as nails, and he'll get in there and he'll take some shots in order to knock you the fuck out and give us a good fight. And even though he went through something that, you know, we've seen fighters and their careers suffer huge setbacks, he came back as if nothing had happened, right? He came back and he did perform the way we expected him to. And I think for me, he's more than proving that he's tough enough to hang in there with anybody else. And that's the only piece of the puzzle I was looking for. So I was definitely impressed, and I'm no longer Inoue denier. I give him his props.
That's a good point. Recognize. That's what I'm
no,
sorry.
It's precise, not me.
Yeah. Recognize the greatness. Hey, what's up?
Yup.
We don't sound nothing alike. But go ahead.
A little bit.
But yeah, all in all, man, like Inoue is just proving more and more. Like this guy's toughness, his heart, like coming through the orbital bone fracture with knee to the nair, who, by the way, is one of the biggest punchers in the lower weight divisions in history.
That fight, he proved himself to me.
Yeah, and then like coming off of that fractured orbital bone, it's punched in the face and just walks through it like the dude isn't doing anything. And just his speed, how accurate he is, how consistently he lands, his ability to like catch you in combinations fluidly, moving back and forth. Like all he needs to do is learn how to move off the line a little bit better. But other than that, like he's
how old is he?
He's 27. He's 27.
Okay, 27.
He comes square on, doesn't he, Mark? So he's, you know, I don't know what I mean by the line, but like this guy, if you're looking at fighters that have got everything, I mean, even the top fighters, there's something like Lomachenko and Usyk, they lack a bit of power for me, where this guy's just got everything. I mean, when I look at Inoue, he just does everything well, a complete fighter. And you know, I got
20-0.
Yeah.
20-0, 3-weight world champion, unified, Ring Magazine champion at bantamweight, made 10 career title defenses already.
Jeez, I mean and you know what, mate? He's a complete package, man. He's a complete package for me, because there were times where Maloney was doing good things. He was trying to go to the body, he was trying to work the jab, but he knew he was just beating him at everything. And there was a point where Maloney led with a left hook and landed it flush. Then he went to do it right away, and as soon as he did that, boom, Inoue catches him with a right uppercut. I'm thinking, man, this guy, you can't hit him with the same stuff. You know, one trick doesn't work the second time. And the other thing is, that's what I love, these no crowds, man. Inoue is the perfect fighter with no crowd, because you can hear his thudding punches, man. It's amazing. Yeah. It really is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like a whip.
Yeah, when you look at him, he looks like someone from a K-pop band, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Look, here's the thing that I want to ask you guys.
He doesn't look like a fighter. I mean, he's just tough as they come. He's as tough as they come, mate. The one thing about
let me ask you a question real quick about Inoue. Okay, Precise brought up a good point. Like, all he needed to see was him get hurt and, you know, get hit by somebody who's strong and see how he reacts. And we know that the Donaire fight, he definitely hurt. Obviously, right? He broke his orbital bone, and so he passed the test. Do you think Inoue has plateaued, or there's more he can get better than what he is now?
I think he can get better. I think he can go undisputed. I think he can go undisputed at bantamweight, and I think he can beat. I think he can beat everyone at 122.
Whoa! You think he could beat everybody at 122? Okay.
I think I would pick him over Neary. I would pick him over Mirjan Akhmadaliev. I'd pick him over Angelo Leo all day.
And before
Hey,
we
you know
continue,
what's
man,
interesting, Unrivaled, about Inoue? He's got a brother named, I think, Takuma Inoue.
Takuma Inoue, who
That,
staggered Nordino
yeah, hold
Valley.
on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, he's got like hardly any KO power. Like I think like 20%. So it's not just that he's his brother, but I'm just wondering if it's like the technique. Because if you're like your brother, maybe physically you're kind of similar. But I mean, how much harder does this guy hit because of technique? Or I don't know. Does he have something in his hand that
It's his
his
muscle
brother didn't
fibers.
inherit?
It's his muscle
His
fibers.
muscle fibers.
It's his muscle fibers. They're really fast reacting. If you watch how he snaps on his shots, he don't hit like no bantamweight dude. He's hitting like a featherweight, like a really hard hitting featherweight. Like this dude like was outsized by Nanito and dropped him. Think of how hard that is.
Arguably stopped him. That ref took a little long time to like.
Well, that referee did say the number.
He
did say the
blocked
number.
off Inoue when he got hurt.
Yeah.
By the way, man, Mark makes a good point. Inoue does hit hard, but I hear he's been hanging around with Tyson Fury. So maybe he's got something in those gloves of his. I don't know. By the way,
there you go.
Before we continue, we got Brian Harkin on the line on StreamYard. Brian, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Hey, man, we're talking Inoue Maloney. What were your thoughts on that fight? And do you agree or disagree with anything the panelists have said so far?
I agree with a whole lot. He's a good boxer. That right hand is special. You know, he got a good jab. His timing's excellent. Good footwork. Just his in and out game. You know, he doesn't leave himself open to counter, but I just think he doesn't really feel it. You know, he's got great chin. Yeah, I don't think he's not worried about getting hit, but you know, he does have good head movement at times as well. You know, he is open to the counter when he does throw flurries, but I don't think he really worries about it. I think he's probably one of the best fighters in the world. Honestly, do I think this kid is special.
Yeah, man, he certainly seems it like it. But you know, if at 118, it seems like guys can't handle his power. At 122, though, if they can, things might start getting a little interesting there as well. But listen, I want to see him in there.
Advantage.
What's that?
He'll then outbox them. He'll outbox those guys at 122 if they can take the power. Because even if they can, it's gonna hurt, and he's got too much speed for them. He's faster than all those dudes at 122 by a lot.
Well, listen, I want to see him in there against Casimero, man. He probably blows him out because Casimero is so wild. But that wildness is something you can't buy, man. It's like a Ricardo Mayorga. Well, not exactly, but I see the same panache in Casimero.
He beats Casimero, but that Casimero, whatever his name is, but that kid's gonna bring it. That kid's gonna bring it, so it's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, that's why when BDA, you were talking about that Cuadras fight when you said, you know, the fight was kind of sloppy, a little too sloppy for your taste. I was thinking, look, Cuadras went in there and he didn't give Estrada time to get his timing down, and that's why he had to fight fire with fire, because it usually takes him a few rounds. Now, in regards to what you're mentioning about this fight, yeah, when they come in wild from the beginning, if you can't get your timing down, it's gonna be kind of hard to settle down and score your shots. That's why.
That's a good point, Gonzalo. But you're right, man. I don't like fights to be sloppy. I like my fights like my women tight. All right, they gotta be tight.
So in reverse to Casimero, if he comes in sloppy and wild, landing hard shots, maybe it takes a little bit for Inoue to try to find out to figure out his
sloppy
timing.
And wild is good at nighttime, 4:00 after the club, drinking ass off.
Sloppy, all right. But Brian, what do you think?
I'll say this.
Go ahead, and then go ahead, Mark, and then we'll get to Brian. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if Inoue fights Casimero, I believe he'll make him quit.
You think he'll make Casimero quit?
I've seen him quit.
Maybe he
quit
won't
against
quit,
Maruti Muthalane, bro. Like Casimero's gaining a lot of hype off he did come fighting against the Zolani Tete, who doesn't really have a chin, coming off of a year layoff, and like he was getting tagged up by Duke Mika, and he was able to outpower him. Duke Mika is not as powerful or as fast or as explosive as Inoue. You go into that exchange, you're getting time to the body, ripped apart, and either stopped.
I agree. I think I would pick Inoue to knock him out, but I think he's gonna sleep him. I don't think he's gonna have time to quit.
Look, if Casimero can make it past being slept, if he can make it past being slept, he'll make him quit. One or the other.
It's not only fast and explosive, he's accurate. He's very accurate.
Yeah, he'll hit you exactly where you need to be hit.
Yeah.
Like, look at the way he knocked out Maloney. It was a straight right hand on his chin, and he just slept it. Like I knew it was over when the way his leg went. You saw his leg. It was like when when Lennox hit that one guy.
When Lennox
what was
hit
the
that
guy's
one.
name?
Ratman.
Like when George Foreman was like he's broke his leg.
Oh, Michael Grant, you saying? Michael Grant?
Yeah, that's the way Maloney felt when he got hit with that right hand.
George Foreman said, "Oh my goodness, he broke his leg."
Yeah, he would always come up with the most extraordinary things, like he's hurt.
No, I don't blame him for that one. If you look the way he fell, it did kind of look that way.
Hey, remember that? Remember those videos?
Channel.
Those videos of Manny Pacquiao getting knocked out and the reactions from the Filipinos, and there was this old woman. She's going, "Oh my God, he's dead! He killed him!"
Yeah.
She was screaming, "He's dead!" Oh man! But Brian. Go ahead.
The question is, though, boys, can I ask a question? Like I said, I didn't see all the fights. Were you guys satisfied with the weekend of boxing?
It was.
Can I go first?
Well, hold on. Let's get to Brian, because I wanted to get to him. Brian, you want to answer that question first?
I was satisfied to the point, but it was nothing I wasn't expecting. You know, the only thing really got me was the Lee Selby. I thought if it was going to the points, I thought, they would give him the decision. But bar that, I wasn't surprised about any of the three big fights anyway. It pretty much panned out how I thought it would. So, Usyk outboxed Chisora. Usyk outboxed Chisora. Gervonta Davis, I said 5th round knockout. It was 6th round knockout. And I thought it would be a 4th round knockout. Maloney would be knocked out in the 4th round, but it happened in the 7th. But pretty much ended up the way I thought it would.
Yeah. No surprises for the most part. Recognize you guys?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the same thing. Pretty much, it was no really big surprise, but I liked I definitely liked what I saw from on Saturday night. There was some good fights.
Yeah.
It was a nice rainy day, so I just had all the time in the world to watch all the fights.
Yeah.
Rainy day means the wife was away, so he had time to do whatever he wanted. He didn't have to. He wasn't mopping the floor or sweeping the floors. Good for you, Ragnar.
I mean, when you look at it, guys, there wasn't really many competitive fights there, was there? That's the problem. Yeah, it was a good night of boxing, but was there really many competitive fights? I mean, Usyk was a clear favourite to beat Chisora. I mean, no one's surprised with that one. And Inoue, I mean, like I said, Maloney had 0 chance in that one. I mean, I obviously thought Leo Santa Cruz would probably do a bit better than he did, because I wasn't sure what Tank Davis was going to come in, but obviously you guys picked it, and fair play to you. You said Tank would destroy him, and that's what happened. So were these like good 50-50 fights? And the answer is no, they weren't.
Hey, but Stu,
like I said, guys,
but to your credit and to my credit,
problem.
To your credit, Stu, and to my credit, we didn't know, and Gonzalo too, we didn't see things in Santa Cruz. So we knew he wasn't going to make it easy for Tank Davis. But Tank Davis he's a good fighter, man. Go ahead, Precise. You gonna say something?
Yeah, it's not often that you'll actually get true 50-50 fights. We had one a few weeks ago with Loma. But I thought the Usyk fight was competitive. It wasn't close, but it was competitive, and there was always that threat. It felt like he better watch his ass, especially early on, and then all the way to the end, because Chisora was coming back with these bum rushes, and it felt like he could get knocked out, right? We just didn't know how good his chin was, and Chisora seemed very dangerous. And I want to say one last thing about that fight. I don't really mean to harp on it, but the reason why I have a problem with these Monday morning quarterbacks saying, Usyk can't, is because they're not actually looking at the fight. To me, they're not breaking down what actually happened in the fight, and they're not being honest about whether they saw it or didn't see it. They're not being honest about it, and they're drawing their conclusions from that. Look, picking Anthony Joshua, yeah, that's smart money. That's the smart pick. Obviously, I get it, but I'm not sure, man. And I think Usyk has a very good chance of beating him, which is why I want to see that fight. And one last thing. The thing that I'm talking about, like I'm just going to give you one example. Somebody said that Chisora was telegraphing the right hand. Well, some of those punches were telegraphed, but he was disguising the right hand by going to his nutsack, basically. And so Usyk wasn't sure, like, is he going to go into the nutsack or is he going upstairs? Another Another thing he did with the right hand that people didn't seem to notice is he was throwing it from the southpaw stance as he was walking forward, and he was throwing it like a swivel jab. So while he was in the southpaw stance, he was jabbing with it, and he had success. So Chisora brought some wrinkles into this fight that I haven't seen before. So it wasn't like, yeah, okay, it's an old Chisora, this and that, but he came to fucking win, man. He came to win, and he was
Chisora
dangerous.
did precise. Chisora did, not only did he do things we've never seen before, he did things that maybe only Tyson Fury can actually do. Maybe only Tyson Fury can do in the heavyweight division. Most of these guys can't fucking dip underneath, switch a stance and throw a swivel jab and then come back up with an overhand left and then revert into an overhand right. They can't do that. That's like Beterbiev shit.
Can AJ take the punches?
I said that earlier, 1 minute, Gonzalo. Chisora's got very crafty. I've been having to get inside because, like I said, he's a brawler. He can't use the jab. He can't fight distance. He has to come inside, and he's found ways of getting in. He's quite clever. He comes underneath shots. He's always moving his head. He's a very hard man to tag clean. Chisora.
Yeah.
I mean,
AJ suits Usyk's style much better, and I don't believe AJ can take the same punches that Chisora took. He might not have to, but if he has to take those shots, he's gonna go down, man. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Brian.
If AJ had the same punch power, real quick, if AJ had the same punch power as Usyk, could he have beat Chisora?
No, he'd probably get knocked out.
Yeah, listen, man. Look, again, I think
you couldn't get away from him. Go ahead.
I think the reason for the Usyk fight is, of course, yes, the favorite should be, and like if you're betting your money, the money should go on AJ. But the feeling is that AJ will get weared out, and I think that's a very good chance for Usyk to win the fight. If you're a boxing fan, like like the way we follow boxing, you can see that scenario playing out. And if we know if it does, that Usyk is going to take he's going to jump all over it. He's going to take advantage of it. And that's why we want to see the fight. Like, I want to see this fight happen. I think a lot of casuals, what they get caught up in is numbers. When you hear people talk about numbers, he's got 18 wins, 14 knockouts. It's not really impressive. I mean, stuff like that is like, okay, you know what you're talking to. Oh, Anthony Joshua has 25 wins and 22 by knockouts or whatever the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
They get impressed with the numbers of it. They don't really understand boxing.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Like Stu was saying, the stats. People love to play the stats game.
Yeah,
This ain't baseball. Yeah, it's not baseball. It's like you can't really judge what goes on. That's why
even in that, you want to know what's funny? Even in that, they a lot of times teams who have like the powerhouse numbers, they get destroyed by the guy who's like the team that was like, average when it came to the offensive number, played really good defense. They get destroyed come when it's time for the playoffs, stuff like that. So even in that aspect, it doesn't always work out.
Interesting.
It's like that movie with Brad Pitt when they made that team, the Athletics, and they were able to beat they become champions. Hey, did you guys watch the Munguia fight? That was a hell of an uppercut too, man.
Damn.
Oh, that
lip
that was beautiful.
Hey, by the way, before we continue, I just want to get our thoughts on that with Saqib Rafiq, who just came in on the StreamYard. Saqib, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, hello. What did you think of the Munguia Turanno Johnson fight?
I only got to watch bits of it, of the highlights, unfortunately. Haven't been able to find a good stream of the Munguia fight, or even the Tank Davis one, actually, because I missed that one.
All right, well, you should have seen what happened to poor Turanno Johnson, man. I mean,
he busted his lip open, didn't he, with an uppercut? I saw that in the highlights.
See, when people talk about the risks in boxing, getting knocked out ain't all that bad, man. It's when you get an injury like that. I'm trying to find a good photo, by the way. By the way, Saqib, I hear some echo there in the back. I think you got your speakers on. Yeah, shut that off, please. All right, fellas, in the panel, what do you think about the Turanno Johnson Munguia fight?
It was a bad cut, man. Especially also the taste of the blood, man. They don't taste good. Right on the lip, you gotta be eating, swallowing all that blood. That was a good stoppage.
Well, that's where you and I differ. If you think blood doesn't taste good, but how about somebody else? Like, what did you guys? Were you any of you impressed with Munguia?
Did Munguia win? I didn't see the Munguia fight. Did he win?
Oh yeah,
he won.
Yeah.
Stopped him.
Yeah,
Yeah, 6-round stoppage off of a vicious cut. I enjoyed the fight. I thought Torino Johnson performed well in the first couple of rounds. Munguia started to dissect him, landed a bit more. Needs to improve his defense a little bit, a lot of it, a whole lot of it.
Yeah, I was going to say
a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, his punch selection is beautiful, and he's got a beautiful inside uppercut, man. He really does. So I love how he jabs off of the exchange to create distance to throw power shots.
I didn't see him doing it at 160 mark.
Well, that was at 160. He's done okay so far at 160. Like, he dissected Spike, stopped Torino Johnson, who was coming off of a win over Quigley. He's doing all right. I don't know how he does with the best guys like a Golovkin. You know, I don't think he wins that fight. I think Golovkin would be a bit too much for him.
He'll get hit a lot
Too much time, and Charlo would probably be able to beat him on timing. But he needs to grow. I wouldn't throw him in there into a world title fight just yet, unless he could get on top of Andrade, in which case he could beat Andrade if he gets on top of him.
I'm with you there, Mark.
One or two fights, and this guy could take out Golovkin.
Whoa!
Because Golovkin gonna be that much older. But look,
hold on,
Munguia's always gonna get hit, man. He's always gonna be that guy that's gonna get hit, regardless if he's training with Morales. He's a guy that's always going to take punches, but he is better in the way he throws his shots. I thought he turned over his punches very well as well, unrivaled.
Guys, like,
go ahead, Patai.
Golovkin's going to be 40
Go
years
ahead.
old. Golovkin's going to be 40 years old pretty soon. So, and Munguia is young and strong, and I think, I don't know, we really got to see what Golovkin got left, but I think he's ripe for the picking. That's just my opinion, right? And I think they're pushing for that fight because even if Munguia loses that fight, but he comports himself well, that's still a win for him. So I wouldn't actually mind seeing that fight at some. I think it'll be a pretty competitive fight, and Munguia can win that fight. Now, insofar as the Torino Johnson fight goes, I thought their deficiencies meshed really favorably for Munguia, because the thing I kept seeing that really bothered me with him is how he keeps his left hand low on the inside, and he's a sucker for the chopping right hand, except Torino Johnson, the reason why he didn't go through with the Golovkin fight is because he had that right shoulder surgery, so he can no longer lift his elbow and throw that right hand chopping, and he couldn't really, he tried, but he really couldn't hit Munguia right there. So I thought he was right for the picking for Munguia. Even though there were opportunities there, he just wasn't the guy to take advantage of them, basically. That's all.
You know what, man? I like the way, I didn't like for Munguia, rather, the way some of those like chopping shots were getting through, and it made me think, what would happen if Munguia went in there right now with Derevyanchenko, who is a better fighter than Torino Johnson, who can chop on the inside with those short arms of his.
Good fight. Good fight.
Yeah.
The only chopping I saw was Toriano's lips.
Oh!
That'd be a good fight. It's like Derevyanchenko's a bit softened up now as well after those last few fights. Like, this man's had war after war. The Jacobs fight was really hard on him. People left this out, but he had a war with Jack Kulke, and he had the war with Golovkin. And he's coming off of a really tough fight where he was where he got like with Charlo. I mean, this dude's in. I'd like to see him have like a gimme fight or two before going into a Munguia.
Yeah, I think asking for him to go in there with Munguia, I mean, you might as well just you're asking to kill the man. What do you want from this guy? I mean,
he's a commie, man. He's got commie blood in him. He can take it.
Munguia is just like Mark said. Munguia is a sort of style that when you've been in a lot of wars, he's the last guy you need to fight because you're going to be in another one. And my problem with Munguia is I saw it when he fought Liam Smith. I mean, you just can't fight like that defensively and get hit that many times in the face and expect to last long or at the top in boxing, mate. He's going to get one day. He's going to walk in there with that fucking gameplay, walking square on with his chin in the air. Someone's going to land and he's going to be asleep. Trust me.
I'd like to see him fight Chris Eubank.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, that'd be a lovely fight because I think star wise that would be a nice fight. That's a
the one thing that I have to give credit to Munguia, although he's defensively irresponsible or he just eats a lot of shots, he moves very well with his legs. He can glide in and out, so he doesn't always stay inside. He can glide in and throw a jab and move out and come back in.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, let me just get to the stream here real quick, man, because we got the Leon Ray. You're on the stream here. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Okay,
by the way,
first,
hold on, Sakib, I'm gonna mute your mic, man, because I can still hear some echo from your end. Go ahead, DeLeon.
Oleksandr Usyk is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. I think.
Well, go ahead.
Make that argument. It's a short history in the cruiserweight.
Yeah. And I tell you what, he's got a very good argument. I mean, look, when you look at it, the Holyfield's got to be a shout, isn't he? You know, David Hay, another one. But look what he.
It's between Usyk and Holyfield. It's between Usyk and Holyfield.
Yeah, but
I would agree with that.
I will argue Oleksandr Usyk undoubtedly because look at their resumes in cruiserweight. You got Holyfield with world champions that he fought with double-digit losses. I mean, can you ever find someone in the cruiserweight? I mean, Holyfield's resume in cruiserweight that is as good as Murat Gassiev?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and also, and Inoue, I think at this point he has one of the most perfect careers from age 21 to 27. But the only thing I will always criticize him for, I think, the two fights that we never get, is at 108 he never fought Roman Gonzalez. At 115 he skipped 115 after 3 seconds saw Rungvisai starts Roman Gonzalez in 4. That will
he skipped 112.
Oh yeah, he skipped 112.
Yeah, skipped 112.
But he also skipped the Rungvisai fight. Like before the Gonzalez fight, before the Gonzalez rematch with Rungvisai, everyone was clamoring for the Inoue versus Roman Gonzalez fight because they were expecting that Gonzalez was gonna right his wrong in the rematch, but Srisaket has other plans and he starts Gonzalez in 4, and then he decided to move up for some reason.
That's a good point. By the way, in the chat
room, quickly, can I ask you this one question? Do you think Roman Gonzalez can beat Inoue? That's the question.
In 108, I think, definitely.
I was gonna say I thought Inoue was also linked to a fight with Carl Yafai after Superfly, but it never happened because Eddie Hearn didn't want anything to do with it at the time, which is what also might have prompted his move to bantamweight as well.
Yeah, man.
Those are valid arguments.
Yeah.
But look, every all-time great fighter, I'm not saying he's that yet, has that 1 or 2 fights that never happened. So, like, it's a valid argument and it's a valid criticism, but he's in the ring with Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez when he's young, and he doesn't have the career, and you know what I mean? So it was a smart move to duck when he was that young, and I'm not going to hold it against him, but it is a criticism, but that doesn't make him original.
Mike Tyson never fought Ray Mercer for some reason. I mean, these kind of things happen.
He never fought David Tua or Guy Biabucci.
David Tua, yep.
Foreman. You can't really say Inoue in the dirt because Inoue entered that bantamweight tournament, and that was a very strong tournament he entered there with some very good fighters. I mean, Tete, people were speaking very highly of Tete in the UK. Same with Ryan Burnett. I mean, Donito Donaire speaks for himself. You know,
probably at that time they looked at what Rungvisai did to Roman Gonzalez.
He went and dominated.
Maybe they looked at that time. Maybe they said, look at what he just did to Gonzalez. We don't think you're ready for that. It's sometimes, man. You could go. A fighter could change in 2 years drastically, especially when they're grown.
Especially if he starts doing a lot of things now, a lot of people are not going to focus on what he should have done. Now, if he starts taking these fights like he did against Donaire and starts facing the top guys, they're going to brush that under the rug. It was never really a thing, though.
Yeah, but I can see what the call is saying because when you look at that, that was a good division he skipped there. You had Roman and Rungvisai. I think Estrada was Estrada in there as well. I mean, look, that's that's a
Don't
tough division he dealt there. So
like
you got a point.
Pacquiao on his way up skipped whole divisions. He jumped over 2 divisions. You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
It's like,
I think 3.
and
I think it might have been 3.
Yeah,
It's
and
2.
look,
It's 2.
at that time, Inoue was struggling with the likes of David Carmona. So to put him in Gonzalez would have been just bad career move.
Yeah,
Just a terrible,
that's,
terrible career move.
but that's a good
At
point.
that
I mean,
time.
look,
Gonzalez would have beat the hell out of Inoue at 112.
I think so,
At
man. I think
115, they were looking to make the fight. They were looking to make the fight. That's why he went over to the Superfly card, right? And he fought Nieves in America. They were looking to make the fight. Afterwards, Chocolatito lost to Rungvisai. Like, they had the rematch. And then Rungvisai became champion. Inoue's team offered for the Rungvisai fight, and Rungvisai went and fought Strada instead.
And you know what,
So the
man?
rest is kind of history. So he moved up.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's like to demand. I mean, we all know Usyk is Inoue is a monster, but to put him in there that young against a guy like Gonzalez, that would have been a bad move. I understand that some people say, hey, if he thinks he's the best, he should fight the best. But we also understand that boxing, you do need some seasoning before you can put a guy in there against an all-time great. But the point that Dalen made, the point that Dalen made was he didn't say it was a perfect route, but he did say it was about as good as it gets when it comes to promotion and building up a young fighter. I mean, the last time I saw that type of good building up was Bob Arum with Mayweather and with De La Hoya and with Cotto. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, to match a guy accordingly and keep looking good.
Yeah.
With subsequent
Oh,
time.
Remember how Ricardo
maybe
Torres almost blew up in their face?
Yeah,
that almost blew up right in fucking Arum's face.
Yeah. But maybe Bob saw that Lomachenko, it was declining. Crawford, even though how good Crawford is, he just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Whereas I think if he went in there with someone like Spence or something, I think he gets beat. So he's one that's not. I think Inoue's his biggest star. So you can see why after them guys, I think you can see why he's probably protecting him a little bit. But look, this guy's going to be the real deal no matter what division he's in. I just think he's a monster. He is a monster, isn't he? Let's be real. But look, every man's beatable. Someone will come along and they'll have Inoue's number, just like most fighters. So.
Absolutely.
I'll just say I don't think
hold on.
Bob Arum's
Mark, can I just say something precise? Please mute your mic, man, because we hear you playing with your fucking we hear you playing with your knives for your butchering. So
we hear you getting ready to go behead some chickens.
Yeah,
so some poor little rooster shaking in the corner.
You never see it coming. You never see it coming. Just like Leon Santa Cruz.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I was just gonna say I don't think Bob is protecting Inoue, and the only reason I don't think he's protecting him is that's his first fight with Top Rank was Maloney, right? And they were meant to debut him against Casemiro, and then when the pandemic hit, Casemiro pulled out of the fight. That fight was still signed. He pulled out, and he immediately jumped over to the PBC.
Mm-hmm. Fishy, yeah, very fishy. Almost like a
Casemiro jumped to the PBC knowing that Inoue's with Arum.
Exactly.
That's a fucking duck move.
And he knew he could fight some bums over there.
That is a fucking duck to me, mate. I'll tell you what, that's what Adonis Stevens did. You know when Kovalev signed with HBO and he went over to Showtime, didn't he?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're bringing Stevenson up. You're gonna bring somebody back from exile or wherever he's from. So please don't bring up Adonis Stevenson. That's
boxing, mate, look, we can't dismiss his career. Stevenson was a good champion, but let's be real. He fucking ducked Kovalev. He actually changed networks to make that happen. Do you know what I mean? And that's a duck to me. And we should be giving these fighters a way out. And that's the problem with these fighters. They've got too many excuses. Oh, it's networks. Oh, it's promoters. Oh, we can't get this done. Oh, it doesn't generate enough money. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this guy's not a pull. Do you know what I mean? Look, all the excuses in the world to duck fights, and I'm fucking sick of hearing it.
Absolutely, man. Now, before we continue, hold on a second, real quick. Shout out to Chet Collins, who just donated the super chat. He says, that Inoue KO was sudden and a thing of beauty. Inoue KO shock at any weight. And I love me some chocolate. Oh, no, he says, Inoue knocks out Chocolatito at any weight. And I love me some Chocolatito. Oh, my goodness gracious. So, Chad Collins, thank you for your contribution. But he thinks Inoue beats Romain Gonzalez every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah,
so.
He ducked him. His
ducked
that whole division.
Now he would. But
now.
Chocolatito in his prime, I don't know about that.
No, he wouldn't. And they
I love
know
me some chocolatito too, man. I love me some chocolate with
He
marshmallows.
didn't duck him at 115. He went over. They were doing that card.
No, he did not.
He didn't duck him. He went over the 115 fight. He was looking for the fight. Chocolatito ended up losing. And then that's not a duck. He was in search of the fight.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What about, like, we can bring up people who didn't fight people all the time. Why didn't Roman Gonzalez ever fight Donny Nietes?
That's right. That you can even make up fights that should have happened that were probably never on the radar.
Why didn't Roberto Duran ever fight Aaron Pryor?
Sugar Ray Leonard did. Why didn't Sugar Ray Leonard fight Aaron Pryor?
That's a good point.
That's right.
Hey, but you know what, man? All you guys are talking about Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, he's got a couple of years left. You know, that's true. But let's not forget about his little cousin. Have you seen that guy? People say he looks like Vainillita Lopez. Vainillita Lopez is gonna come in and do what he's gotta do, man. So forget Chocolatito. Vainillita Lopez, I'm calling it right now. Future all-time great. Check him out on YouTube. Now, fellas, we were talking about Inoue. By the way, we were talking about the cruiserweights too. I forgot to say, Bucho said in the chat room that you forgot to talk about one of the all-time greatest cruiserweights who could give anybody a run for his money, Johnny Nelson.
Johnny Nelson.
With those tight-ass t-shirts. With those tight-ass t-shirts of his, man. Come on, man. And
I tell you what, mate, you could buy the strongest Colombian cocaine, all right, and stick a big fat line up your nose, and Johnny Nelson would still put you to sleep.
Ah, come on. You don't really mean that.
Have you ever seen Nelson versus Leon, man? It's one of the worst fights in the history of boxing.
Well, Nelson actually I think Nelson was lucky to get out of that arena alive, and that's his home fans. You know, that tells you everything you need to know. It's not like he's gone to a parts and away crowd. He's getting in his own town, mate. He was that bad. I mean, look, Johnny Nelson, I mean, you can't knock the guy. I mean, he had 13 world title defenses, I think. Well, 13, I think it was amazing, really, when you think a guy's got about 13 defeats to go with that. But just not my sort of fighter at all. I mean, Johnny Nelson, whenever Johnny Nelson came on, it was time to look for the remote control. Let's just say that.
Now, you know what? I think I like you, Stu. But I think sometimes you say these things just to piss me off and to rile me up. You can't really believe that he's one of the most boring or that he's stunk. I mean, okay, boring, yeah. But that he's stunk? Come on.
Do you remember have you watched Johnny Nelson fight?
Absolutely. Brendan Ingle type style. What?
Okay, all right. The only time he did anything excitement when he knocked out Carl Thompson, and he looked in fucking shock when he did that, didn't he? He couldn't believe what just happened.
Yeah, he
right, looked so surprised when he knocked out Thompson, man. He was like, "Wait, I knocked him out."
Yeah, he did. He did, man.
Yeah, man.
The thing that always gets me.
Good.
When it comes to like the GOAT discussion, the thing that always gets me is that in any other sport, I don't care what sport it is, UFC even, someone like Holyfield would have been discarded, called a cheater. All of his wins would have been voided. Like this, he would never get the type of recognition. It's only really in boxing, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying like it's only really in boxing that such an obvious cheater gets recognized as someone great, right? They've just been having this whole discussion with GOAT in MMA, right? And a lot of people automatically disqualify someone like John Jones for obvious reasons, right? So to like, I'm just saying, like, if I'm not saying he should or shouldn't be disqualified. What I am saying is, if we are going to compare him to Usyk, well, Usyk doesn't look to be. If he is juicing, he's taking nowhere near the type of shit that David Haye or Holyfield were on. So let's take that into consideration.
Allegedly. We got to cover our
side.
Precise.
I mean, Holyfield. 1 minute he's a cruiserweight.
If you look at sports,
I'll just say what. Go ahead, Recognize.
No. To Precise's point, like in baseball, he's right. They do this shit, but they do favoritism. Now, look, you guys heard of Big Papi, right? David Ortiz.
Big Papi, yeah.
Okay, so he's a legend, right? He's a legend, and I agree. If anybody asks me, I'll say, yeah, he's a legend. But he got popped for using steroids, and he wasn't a better player than Alex Rodriguez. Not even close. And Alex Rodriguez is treated as a pariah. He's a piece of shit. Now, he does suck. His personality does suck, but that's not what we're judging, right? We're judging how good was he on the field.
Yeah.
It's not Ben Johnson. I mean, Ben Johnson was fucking rapid, but when you mention his name, everyone just says cheating fucker. Do you know what I mean? So, look, you're going to compare him to the guys that are not cheating. That's the problem with drugs. You got to either let everyone take them or no one takes them, because then we're getting the right results here. When you've got guys fucking juicing up and the other guy is not, then to deal with a dangerous sport, I just find it wrong, man. I really do.
Ringside Charlie in the chat room says David Ortiz
my frustration
is a
is with
Haitian.
these people, with these.
Yeah, go ahead, Precise.
No, like these people call in and they say, "Oh, look at David Hayes' power. Look at Holyfield's power," and I'm just like, "Okay, can we address the elephant in the room? Yeah, they had power. Where did it come from? Get out of here."
No, wait
I mean, when
a minute.
Holyfield, 1 minute was a lean cruiserweight. The next minute he's walking in the ring looking like Clubber Lang, isn't he?
He looks like Wolverine.
Yeah, Evan Fields, you should say. Evan Fields.
Yes,
not Evan
Evan
Holyfield.
Fields.
That's right.
You turned it to Evan Fields.
Nah, but look,
Who was
man.
better? Who was better, Evander Holyfield or Evan Fields?
Well,
Evan Fields. No, honestly, Evan Fields. I mean, when he fought Tyson, he must have put on about 4 stone of muscle. I mean, it's huge.
Dude, he had his traps had traps.
Yeah, that was him. And remember what Jimmy said, that when you're juicing, the first thing that you will notice is the traps. They overdevelop real quick. And look at I'm showing a picture. I'm showing a picture on the YouTube of Holyfield in his prime. I'm thinking this is 1997ish, 96. Those traps are huge, man. He's like Bane in that Batman movie. He's got those type of traps.
I'm convinced when it comes to boxing and drug use, it wasn't a problem until foreign fighters started to come in and they didn't want them to take. This is what that's all about. That's all it's about. We got some of the best boxing when boxing was in-house, America, right? These guys were on steroids. Like, that's what they were using. Like, come on. Like, I know you like Sugar Ray Leonard, and I like him too. He was on roids. Like, I love Marvin Hagler. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on roids.
Exactly, recognize. Go back and watch the
Hagler
old.
was juiced to the gills.
Yeah, go back and watch the old archive videos from the 80s and the 90s. I mean, the shape these
look how
guys
they used
were
to
in.
fight.
I know,
Look how
the
they used
shape
to
they
fight
was
each
in.
other. They fought like nonstop for 15 rounds. Okay, maybe they paced themselves as they started getting towards the later rounds. But think about how they went at each other. It wasn't a problem because it was all in-house. Everything was in-house.
Yeah, because when you see how fighters today, I mean, when you look at a lot of fights, after 12 rounds, these guys got nothing left. I mean, you think to yourself, how did these guys go 15 rounds when these athletes today are blowing after 4 or 5? Do you know what I mean? It's just
you pace yourself differently. You pace yourself differently.
No, you mix up.
No, it's nothing to do with that.
You mix
It's
up
drugs,
a little
man.
bit of stimulants into your water, and you drink that throughout the fight. Like, that's just well known. Everybody.
Aaron
did it.
Pryor.
Muhammad Ali. You could watch
Aaron
old
Pryor brought a
Hagler.
whole mixed drink to his Alexis Arguello fight.
Hagler was.
That's what we know about.
That's what we know about. Yes.
There's a fight. Muhammad Ali gets knocked down by, I think it was an Frazier fight, and in the corner they have him drink from some glass bottle. He gets out of that corner, his eyes go crazy, and he just starts like he looks like the Hulk, man. He just wakes the fuck up and takes this deep breath. It's like, come on, man. They
You know, a guy that
can
could go 15, and you guys know about him, Salvador Sanchez. He looked like he can go 15 forever, man. Like real.
Yeah, but he was roided up. He was roided up to the max as well. Look at the size of his head.
Wait a minute, that was an afro, man. Come on, man.
That afro,
it was mainly
right?
hair.
He had that Mexican afro. He had that afro like the microphone.
Yeah, he looked like a microphone. That's true, man. Now hold on, before we continue, man, because we still got people on the StreamYard, and I want to get their input on this. Sorry about that, guys, but it's mostly it's like a phone call. This StreamYard, it's not like you're here forever. What do you guys think? I mean, Sakib, I don't know what it is with your you got speakers on, and I can still hear myself. The last thing I want to do is hear myself, man. Come on. You don't have any headphones on or something?
I've got headphones on, but I'm not sure why they're not working properly.
Yeah, I think I can hear them. That's okay. That's okay. We're not gonna devour you over that. But what do you fellas think about that, Brian and Sakib? Steroids in boxing. I mean, has it been around since the 50s or even before then?
I think it's been around.
if you look at the older fighters, the way they were able to do 15 rounds and go at a pace that isn't seen today, to a higher extent, the smaller guys are able to do it. But as you go up in weight, you go up to 140, you go up to 147, 154. This pace slows down to the point. I don't know if it was because of the TV quality. It looked different, than the HD and QHD we have now. But it seems like those guys had more energy. They could take more punches to to that point where, steroids have been around a long time.
Yeah,
and anyone who denies that is lying. I'm agreeing with Stu. Either nobody takes them or everyone takes them.
That's a good point. Now, you said if anybody disagrees, they're stupid. So, Sakib, I hope you're going to disagree with that. Go ahead. I want some conflict over here. Come on.
No, unfortunately, I don't disagree because I imagine boxing was so deregulated back then that steroid use probably would have been rife amongst all these boxers. Probably nutrition as well. I imagine nutrition also played a huge part in the types of things they were eating probably as well. But I imagine boxing wasn't so much of a niche sport in the 70s and 80s. I imagine it was a lot more glamorous then than it is now because I imagine there was a lot of indifference towards things like that.
Like everybody was juiced. There was cocaine and Coca-Cola, so it wasn't a big deal. Half the shit that's illegal today was legal. You could get it at a pharmacy. Here in Ecuador, I could go to the pharmacy and get basically anything I want. No prescription.
Yeah, the good old days is what I used to call them. You know what?
My auntie works at a pharmacist, and she says they have pure cocaine in the safe because I was trying to get me a bit, but they reckon it's all they reckon it's all guarded up. It's all safed up. You have to sign in when you take it out. That stuff's regulated, mate. That stuff will kill you anyway. You'd have to mix that anyways.
Yeah,
look,
I think I forget who said it. It was a trainer. Probably in the 1990s. I forget who said it. I read this. I read this right, and he said half the fighters in the 80s and the 70s were taking Vicodin for the pain. And between rounds.
Eddie Futch said that.
No kidding.
Vicodin so they could take more pain.
Whoa.
Pain blocker.
Nice.
That's
smart.
And
look, steroids has been around in boxing for a very, very long time. Look, testosterone was first synthesized in the 30s, right? And if you look at, I'm going to use one of the most famous fights in two very famous fights in American history, right? Was the two fights between Max Schmeling and Joe Louis. If you look at both of their physiques in the first fight and then the second fight, both men had more defined traps in the second fight, more defined triceps. Schmeling's body changed from 32 through 30s into the mid 30s and late 30s was obviously part and parcel of the slight coalition relationship he had to have by force with Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime, even though he wasn't a Nazi. And America, they had the chief scientist who was in charge of synthesizing and creating the first form of breath inhalation steroid. I can't think of the dude's name, but he was the scientist who created all of that type of synthesizing, and they used him. And from the 30s onwards and 40s, fighters were on steroids. You could see the visible changes. So let's not even talk about like the 80s and 70s. That shit's been going on for nearly 100 years.
Whoa. That's amazing, man. Yeah, it's interesting. It would be interesting to do more research on that pre-World War II.
They reckon the Nazis were on them during the Munich Games. I reckon all the athletes were taking steroids back then in the 40s. Or 30s, well, 39.
They were giving testosterone to all those women. But look, anabolics, he's right, Mark. Anabolics came around in the 30s, but you had stimulants a lot longer than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
stimulants
go
go back
much longer.
Hundreds of years. There was different forms of like toxins out of different plants and using them, and using the toxins to be able to create bloodway passages for your lungs for endurance running in the 1910s. This has been around forever.
That's because of the war. I think they gave it to the soldiers so they could fight days on end.
Yeah, we were talking about that in Second Renaissance, how most of these guys, when they do their training, that there's a lot of sleep deprivation involved. Why? Because when they get on in the field, there's going to be a lot of that. But once they're in the field, that's when they come out with the goodies. A bunch of pills, a bunch of stimulants. Hey, stay awake and kill all the people you want, man. Let's go. Now, with that being said, it seems to me like, that it's always been a problem because back in the even now, if you're not with Vada or USADA, what's the test? Pee in a cup. It's my local coffee shop with all the bums. They're pissing on cups. That's it. That's the test. You're not going to catch with the things that are developed now, man. Some of these guys are ahead of the curve. So a pee test is not going to cut it, man. And even a blood test doesn't cut it sometimes, depending on, the time window.
This is just from specific research of my own. 85% of SARMs that are out there right now aren't on the WADA ban list because they're not detectable to WADA yet. 85% of SARMs.
Incredible.
They're probably inventing some new shit as we speak, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I have a quote here. Well, I don't have it with me now, but I have in a document where with the Memo Heredia, they were interviewing him. And he's saying, yeah, you can, he was talking about how it was fun for him to develop all these drugs and not get caught. And he says, we're always ahead of the curve. Oh, but I don't do it anymore. I'm thinking, come on. It's like, I don't believe that guy. I don't know about you fellas, but when some of these guys, you got some of these reformed cheaters that got caught, but they tell you that it was fun to beat the system, and they're admitting that they can still do it. So why wouldn't they do it? Because that's part of the game. Or maybe I'm just paranoid.
It's not. These people, okay, so they get caught, and there could be many reasons why somebody gets caught. It could be because they miscalculated when they would be clean. It could be I want to postpone a fight so I could be really, ready for like in a couple of months, like in Canelo versus Triple G. That's my opinion. There's many reasons why people could get caught. The main reason is because they want to, hamper the fighter that they don't want on steroids. That's basically it. In my opinion, it's just, look, I don't want this guy. I know he's taking something. I know my guy's taking something too. But like I see the way he fights, and I don't think my guy has a good shot against that guy.
Well, do you agree with that though? Like what Bas Rutten says that losers are the ones that take steroids or PEDs.
I mean, come on, right? The losers take steroids. The loser takes the good shit and loses to the guy who takes nothing, right?
No, but he meant as in mentality wise.
Was roided as hell, man.
I was gonna say that fucking guy. When you see him in Pancras, I mean, he looks fucking huge, man. Bulging muscles. I'm thinking, come on, man. You weren't on anything. Are you sure they're in Japan where they weren't doing any drug testing? I don't know. Fishy to me.
They encourage people in Pride, or was it Shooto?
In Pride too, yeah, Pride for sure.
They encourage them.
The reason there's testing. The reason there's testing for these like roids, I mean, to me it should be obvious. It's just a way to control outcome. That's all it's for.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I have a problem with. Like, if you want to clean up the sport, fine. It's impossible in my opinion. Let everybody do whatever. Let's have a level playing field, which will never happen. But like, even Mayweather, I mean, there's Thomas Hauser did an article talking about Floyd Mayweather drug tests, and he basically failed 2 drug tests, and then shit was covered up. Like, they didn't. So, Roy Jones Jr. back in the day with Richard Hall. I can hear myself.
I can hear Stu talking.
He tested positive for.
I was talking about dog. Sorry.
Oh,
he's going crazy. He's talking to his dog.
A specific steroid.
Yes.
Roy Jones Jr. But they also detected like 6 times the amount of testosterone in his blood than regular man, right? His age. So basically, this steroids, for those who don't know, anabolics are a synthetic form of testosterone that your body metabolizes and uses. So that's where it came from, right? With Floyd Mayweather, they found in one of his tests like 6 to 7 times the amount of testosterone that a man his age should have, except they never like ran a test to see where it came from or whatever, right? But so you can't really say that like he officially failed the test, but it's pretty obvious that he failed the test. And this was before Victor Ortiz, so go figure. Like Floyd's like one punch knockout, and he's juiced to the kill.
Yeah, with Floyd, man. I mean, come on, look. I try to defend Floyd against some other people that just want to criticize everything he does. But come on, man. They always say with Marcus, they said, "Oh, who gets more ripped and more muscular at 40?" Look at Mayweather. You look at him in 2006, and then you look at him in 2017, 2016. Even before that, he looks fucking ripped and more muscular. I mean, come on, what was he? And then you see him in the 24/7s running around at night. And you know why you got to run at night if you got EPO, right? Because of the blood thickness. So, I mean, isn't it a little bit too convenient? But look, before anybody jumps on me and says, "Oh, you hating on Floyd Mayweather, man." Hey, I'm saying, like we're saying, most of these guys, top guys, they're on something. And to think otherwise, I got a fucking some snake oil to sell you, man. Because I mean, that's just the way it works. They're on something.
Yeah, the thing is, it's usually the ones that the loudest about drugs are the ones that are taking it. I mean, look at Baby Miller, the noise he made about people
he's
taking
a fucking
drugs.
he's a roided up.
Floyd was the same. Floyd, he took this role as the advocate of clean boxing. This guy was anything he could get his hands on, he'd stick in his fucking body. And this guy's preaching everyone about the clean sport of boxing. Get out of here, man. I mean, look, it's usually the guys that the loudest talking about steroids. Like, oh, we need a clean sport. You know, standing up for the fighters that are clean, sort of thing. They're usually the ones that are cheating. Trust me.
Yeah, and the way he dresses, I'm just guessing it's not all that natural.
Let me tell you something. True warriors don't care about the outside shit. They just want to fight, man. That's it. True warriors. When you start seeing a guy, I'm just trying to clean up the sport. I'm like, you're a bitch, bro. You know when it comes to fighting, that's not the way it goes. It's just like the toughest dude is the guy that says, "I'll go to your block and I'll knock your head off." Even if he doesn't, the fact that he went to your block and almost knocked your head off, I give that guy a lot of props. You're the guy that makes excuses. The other guy that says, "Now, why would I go to that block? You know they're gonna jump me.
That's a good point.
You know what's gonna happen."
That's a great point, man.
But you know what, BDA? It's interesting that you bring up Floyd and him, how he probably used steroids. For all the steroids he took, he kept it defensive, where he didn't use his strength to overpower guys. Maybe he could take a better shot because of that, but he was still able to use his boxing skills.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that
Mosley, he manhandled Mosley. Mosley, who was like this strong guy. Mosley, in his previous fight, when at Margarito, manhandled him, wrestled him on the inside, killed him to the body, knocked him the fuck out, right?
Destroyed him, bro.
In his next fight, Floyd puts fucking six him with Usada, and Floyd is manhandling him after Mosley has that little burst. And,
we're not supposed to talk about that. Fuck Floyd. Get out of here with that.
And by the way, before people the Mayweather
fuck the guy that says we're not
before the Mayweather fangirls come in and but what about Pacquiao? Yeah, fuck shit. Yeah, Pacquiao was on it too. What do you want from me? You want me to tell you that it was just one? It was everybody, but to deny that Mayweather's career and his body shape was not suspect as he got older. You're not being honest over here, and I'm talking to a figurative person out there.
Pacquiao never failed a test. Floyd failed 3. What are we even talking about here?
No, wait a minute.
Out of here. What are we talking about?
And not only that, look, like, Pacquiao took something. Let's say he did. Fine, he took something. Did he limit his opposition from doing what they wanted to do? I don't think so. I think there's more evidence to suggest that Floyd limited his competition on being at their 100%, self in the fight while he was. So to me, there's more evidence of that.
Yeah. I think this is probably why Floyd is now having to take exhibitions, because at Floyd's age,
because he's done. Stu, he's done.
He needs steroids to compete. He needs steroids to compete these days. Because look, he's of course he's done.
Dude, did you see how bad he was? Did you see how bad he looked against Berto? Dude, he looked bad against that. He barely got when he got touched. His reactions were like, "I don't want to be here." Like a guy's like, "Look, I just need to get to the finish line." Yeah, he was piecing up Berto. I get it. He was piecing up Berto. Berto doesn't have defense, right? But every time he put hands on Floyd was grimacing. getting bruises all over his face. Come on, man. He was done back then.
Hey, BDA.
Go ahead,
BDA.
Gonzalo.
I just wanted to go ahead. Go ahead, 5.
I was just gonna say real quick. For me, like everyone already believes Pacquiao did whatever. Everyone already acts like Pacquiao was juiced when there's zero proof. Whatever, it is what it is. But for me, if I had to bet my house on it, yeah, I think he did something. But I will say this much: he did do some shit. It was probably more along the lines of stimulants and maybe some weight cutters and maybe some HGH. I don't know, but when you look at Pacquiao and how well preserved he is, even though he went out there and fought very aggressively, got knocked out many times, took a lot of punches, for him to be this fresh and this good at the age of 40, that tells me that he couldn't have done a lot of anabolics. When you look at Floyd Mayweather's family, his uncle is dead, his dad is sicker than a fucking dog. I mean, those dudes, like, they took so much junk, they fucked themselves up, man. Whether it was recreational drugs or
That's a good
PEDs,
point, man. Yeah, those dudes destroy their bodies.
And look at Pacquiao, hardly any injuries. Like he's a beast, man. He couldn't have done that much gear and
started boxing in 1995. Precise. In 2020. Yeah. This is when this guy started boxing.
Damn.
I think if he really were geared up like all them other dudes, that would have destroyed him.
Probably would have.
Body, and he's still so intact, basically, right?
Look, I don't want to mention this boxer's. I don't want to mention his name. I actually know him, all right, but he's from the 90s and the 80s, from my area. He looks like shit. He's only a couple of years older than me. I'm 47. He's got to be maybe 50, 51. Okay, this guy's destroyed because I know what he was taking. I know what he was taking. I'll never mention his name, all right, but this is what it does to you, bro. And if you don't think that guys were like doing shit like that, like look at Roy Jones, bro. Like Roy Jones looks good. Don't get me wrong. He's taking care of himself, but look how he talks.
Yeah,
he talks like he's damaged, bro. He is just damaged goods.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Roger was more of an attacking fighter. He took a lot of damage, but I'm kind of impressed by Pacquiao because he's been in a lot of wars too. And he doesn't have. I mean, Chavez doesn't have that damage either. He can still string a sentence together.
Yeah, that was weird, huh?
Pac-Man really talks like because he speaks English, but he looks like he still got it together. Well, actually, I do because I met him. But I mean, if you were to talk English fluently, I don't know what I could make out about how he puts his sentences together. But I'm impressed by that.
I see Pacquiao having problems in the future. I've said this before on this show. There's a droopy look about Pacquiao. I think
that's because he's Filipino.
Catch up in the end.
No, that's just because he's Filipino, man. But yeah, Gonzalo, you brought up a good point about. you brought up a good point, Gonzalo, about Chavez. That motherfucker was coming forward, and I mean, yeah, he was a good defensive fighter, but he had to catch a lot on his gloves and on the top of his head too. And those are the types of shots over time that can really fuck you up. And he's okay. By the way, people are saying didn't want to mention the name, but people in the chat room are saying that it was they're speculating that it was Luis El Watusi Rodriguez from the Barrio. Was that him? No. Okay. Well,
no, I mean, I don't. He's too young. I mean, I don't. Wait, Luis, what name did they say? No, look, I'll say it. It's Lou Duval.
Oh,
I thought it might have been Aaron Davis.
The guy he's from my neighborhood. He's a guy I respect, but like I bumped into him one time, and he's like, "Do I know you?" I'm like, "Wow, bro, okay." I mean,
I hate to say it, but some people were saying that was
no. He said, and people told me he just there's a lot of stuff that he don't remember.
Holy smokes! But recognize he looks like he probably did. It wasn't because of steroids. It was probably because of some things that you take with a pipe.
No, he was like I don't want to. Yeah.
All right. Don't say it because
he was on some drugs too. Like he was on some like he did a lot of drinking from what I heard. Yeah.
I just told you don't say it and you said it. All right. Anyway,
drinking.
like Chavez, he's not the most well spoken because he doesn't have a lot of education, but that has nothing to do with the way he talks because you can still see that he's okay compared to all the other guys like Meldrick Taylor, Terry Norris. I mean, Duran's okay still, right?
Yeah,
Duran is fine, and he's had over 120.
I'll be honest with you, man. Even Larry Holmes, who's old, like he's talking better than a lot of these guys, like Riddick Bowe and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe sounds punch drunk. Vander Holyfield.
No. Riddick Bowe sounds
Riddick Bowe is destroyed.
He sounds way more than punch drunk. He looks punch sloshed, bro. That dude.
And he only fought 28 times, right? His career, he didn't really fight.
No, he had more than that. He had more fights.
32, maybe 32.
No, 40.
40
plus.
Who are we talking about?
Riddick Bowe had 40 plus fights. 40 plus fights.
Yeah, he retired 43-1.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Gonzalo brought up Chavez Jr. Senior. He looks good. I tell you, who's not looking good? That's Junior. I mean, look at this, man.
Yeah.
Look at this photograph over here. I mean, doesn't he look like he took too many shots in the head? A little bit. Hold on, let me find a better picture. There we go. Oh, actually, I could play the video. You guys in the Discord are seeing what I'm seeing, right?
It was a TikTok challenge, and his brother did the same thing.
It was.
Too. Now,
Stop defending him. Oh, see, I knew Gonzalo was going to defend him.
No, I'm not defending. I'm saying his brother also did it.
That's even worse. Too quick. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not going to say it.
Nah, he doesn't look like he's taking shots in the head, man. He looks like he's taking shots in the ass. What's this?
Oh!
Faggot.
Wait a minute.
The whole world gone crazy!
Fuck me up the ass with your hot
What
teenage
grown
cock.
man dresses like that?
Wearing heels, what's he got? Is that a Louis Vuitton bag around him and everything like that?
You know what, Matt? You motherfuckers are gonna get us shut down.
Like an Asian MILF, bro. What's he doing?
He got it from Fags or Us.
All right, you gotta stop saying that word, man. I mean, I don't care about the monetization, but I mean, I do care about getting banned. Come on, lovers. What's the matter with you?
What if he says it with a PH? Or what if he's talking about the collective term for a group of sticks?
That's right. That's exactly what he's saying.
Because we all know he likes a group of sticks up his ass.
Ah, come on. I thought you were helping me out, you motherfucker. What?
Miguel Cotto, doesn't he seem a little punch drunk too?
Well, I mean, look at his son and look at, I mean, I think that's just a fucked up family there. I don't think it's because he took too many shots. But that's just my opinion. Look, I don't want to cast dispersions on people. I mean, that the Bible does say, not to judge or judgy. That fucking. I'm
Who
tired.
the fuck is that? Who is that?
What?
He took that one beating. He took that one beating by Margarito in the first fight. He took some punches in the second fight too, man.
Yeah, that second fight, that he was lucky they stopped it because I mean, maybe he would have gone the distance. The second Margarito fight.
Margarito versus
Cotto.
Miguel Cotto.
Cotto. Yeah. Yeah, I think Cotto was lucky to fight. They stopped the fight, to be honest with you. I think it was.
They stopped it after
Cotto,
his best round.
Yeah, he was clowning Cotto in there. He was clowning Cotto.
Listen, man, Margarito was the better fighter, bro. Like, people need to get over it. He's the better fighter. That's all.
I got a cool story about that fight. So you guys aren't gonna believe it, but it was me and Rasclat watching that fight in Oakland at a bar, and he was pissed off.
You too?
Yeah.
This is Rasclat 222, undefeated in YouTube. What?
Wait! You caught me off guard.
I heard about this.
Repeat this.
But he'll come on here and he'll like bash Margarito and all this other stuff. But he thought they saved Cotto in that fight, man. Like when we were watching it live, he was like, "Oh no, that's bullshit." He was about to get in that ass. He was about to knock him out, blah, blah. He was pissed off. But he'll come on here and talk shit about Margarito all day.
Well, you never know. He's on the line right now. This is Rasclat 222. Now, but you know what, man? The thing that made me laugh was when we were watching together at one point the off air. We were watching the face-off between Margarito and Cotto when they sat down and Cotto brought that tablet to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Margarito had something in his raps. And then when Margarito goes, because he thought he had it in the bag, he was acting cocky and everything. And then Margarito goes, What? That's red. What? And then you see Cotto's face like, that was my ace in the hole. and then when Max Kellerman goes, hey, this guy, referring to Margarito, is willing to die in the ring. You just said you're not. So doesn't that give him an advantage? And then again, you see Cotto wide eyes like, where's my manager? Where's my tablets? That was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
He embarrassed him in that interview, bro.
Yo, and back then, Margarito was looking like a fucking cartel Don, man. He was looking like the Don of Tijuana or something, man. With the fucking hair and the beard and then the sunglasses.
You know what the best part was? Yeah. You know what the best part was? When Margarito, when it was communicated to him that Cotto doesn't want to die in the ring. He was like, he did that laugh. He's like, what? Like he can't comprehend that. Like, dude, we fight. That's what we do.
He lives, He lives really close to my house, like 5 minutes from where my mom lives in Tijuana.
I've always, him. Listen, this is my opinion. This is my opinion about the whole glove thing. This is okay. I think he was set up. That's basically it. I thought he was set up so that Shane Mosley could beat him, and they could sit Shane on the shelf for a little while, make sure he's not on any drugs, so he can fight Floyd Mayweather. That's my opinion. I don't really have any proof except the events that happened. That's it.
I think you and Precise have to be the top guys who come up with these stories, this conspiracy theories, fake news. I'm gonna call them, which are dangerous ideas.
Listen, I'm not
They're
saying
dangerous
it's true.
ideas, man.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying I think that's what happened. I don't believe Bernard
Brother
Hopkins'
Nazim?
ex. Yeah, he's a con man, bro. He's just look. He's dead and all that stuff, but this was a con man from Philadelphia that was having his fighter cheat using gloves while checking other people's gloves to make sure. Like, if you don't sense a con man by doing that, then you just got bad self-awareness.
I remember that
you meet
video
a guy like
Precise-
that, he will fuck you.
That's what I wanted to say. Remember
the other way around.
Remember that video Precise made about the gloves between Steve Cunningham and what was it, Glowacki? No,
all of them.
video.
Yeah, and then he goes, Precise says something along the lines of, and then you have brother Nassim. It's like he put an emphasis on the brother, and I was thinking, anybody that names themselves brother, because you gotta know that he came up with that. Like he started telling people, "Oh, I'm brother Nassim," and then people just nobody. I'm pretty sure nobody gave him that moniker, brother. And anybody that gives himself
brother Nassim,
exactly, he gave himself brother Nassim. I mean, and he hung around. Look, I like Hopkins, man. I do think he was a skilled fighter, but he was also the type of guy who was willing to bend every rule in the book to have an advantage. And when you have brother Nassim Richardson and that guy together for so long, I think that he was with Hopkins since 97 or 98, they knew their tricks, man. So I do agree that there was some...
Think about it. Like, think about it reasonably and logically. If you're willing to get in that ring and cheat blatantly, break every single rule in boxing, what are you doing in the dressing room? What are you doing behind closed doors? You know what I mean?
I have a question, and this is for Precise. Precise, how much did Steve Cunningham's team pay you to get rid of that?
Why do you think I'm in Ecuador? Bought some land and we're living off the land.
Yeah, but that, I mean, the look, for people that don't know what we're talking about, can we talk about Precise or... Anyway, why am I asking you? I'm going to talk about it.
Of course. Yeah,
even if you said no, I'm going to talk about it because that's how bad I am. That's how badass. Nobody tells BDA what to do. Yeah, but okay, we can talk about it.
Yeah, whatever, BDA.
What?
Except for Ryan Garcia.
You leave Ryan out of this. See, nobody mentioned Ryan Garcia. What you got to bring up Ryan Garcia for? What you got against the guy?
Mr. BDA, talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Well, Precise made a video, I think about 2 years ago, and it was, I don't know how he came up with that, but...
A little longer than that. It was
longer?
3 or 4 years. Yeah, 3 years ago.
I think it was 3, yeah.
That was late 2016, early 2017?
Yeah.
Whichever time it might have been. And he was talking, there was a video, which is still up on the internet, the actual raw footage, not with Precise commentary, but it's about, I think it was a Glowacki versus Cunningham fight in the dressing room, and before the fight, and they're examining the gloves with the commission. And Glowacki's trainer grabs one of Cunningham's gloves and just starts examining it. You know, quite bold, but it's his right to inspect it. And then Nassim Richardson and Cunningham's team, and Cunningham's wife too, all of a sudden they like, if you notice the body language, they get tense real quick. And then they start making a big deal out of, oh, why is he grabbing the gloves? No, the gloves is okay. And essentially what happened was one of Cunningham's gloves, one of the thumbs, that was what Glowacki's trainer said, one of the thumbs was loose, which could have been used to thumb a guy. And then lo and behold, what we see with Cunningham and Troy, what was it, Troy Ross? What was the guy's name? Troy Ross, the Canadian who won the Contender Season 3.
The one that he cut his eye?
He fucking ripped. I've never seen an injury like that.
Yeah.
He thumbed him. And if you you can still see the fight on YouTube. That Troy Ross or whatever his name was against Cunningham. You see him jabbing, or I think it was a left hand, but because Cunningham was it was a jab. I think it was a jab, and you see the fucking thumb just like sticking out, like it wasn't even attached. That was a weird fight. And now you got Cunningham saying, "Oh, Tyson Fury definitely cheated." He's making videos out there saying Tyson Fury cheated. He's explaining the gloves. I'm thinking,
He's a faggot. That's what he's a punk.
But you know how Steve Cunningham got caught doing that?
Why'd you tell us?
Because the guy who was training Glowacki, he had trained another guy that Steve Cunningham had done that to. So
and who
he
was that?
already aware of his tricks. So he brought the glove situation to the commission's attention, and that's how he wasn't able to get away with it that time.
Do you know what the other guy was? Who the other dude?
I don't quite remember, but it was some Russian.
And by the
Eastern
way,
European guy.
The guy that I was Troy Ross. Yeah, I got the name right. Troy Ross. He was the guy who got that. Now the quality of the fight itself on YouTube is not that great, but you can still see in slow motion. I mean, it's clear as day that there was something up with those gloves. Now, some people are going to say, "Well, wait a minute, BDA. If you don't believe the Tyson Fury thing with the gloves, how do you explain?" Because people are going to say that means Tyson Fury could have gotten away with it. Nah, because we're talking two different things. We're talking one unattached thumb, and the other people with the Tyson Fury camp are talking about fucking horseshoe clamps on a fucking glove. So it's not the same thing. But in this fight, by the way, with Troy Ross was in Europe, I believe. It was in Germany. So it's completely different places. So it's not the same thing. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, that's the... Why did we start talking about Steve Cunningham, by the way? Because we were talking about Margarito.
Talking about Margarito, how people try to shit on Margarito's win over Cotto, to paint them out to be this bad man. I think he was framed, bro. That's it. Framed.
Going back to... Go ahead.
No, just going to say, if he really would have got busted with something, wouldn't we know exactly what he got busted
He
with?
would have went to jail like Louis Resto or something like that, Something would have bad happened to Margarito.
You read the Thomas Hauser article from, was it Seconds Out or I forget which website it was, but just write...
You're talking about when he did the Margarito thing?
Yeah, he looked into the Margarito thing. And every time they say what they found in the hand wraps, I think it was ingredients or materials that are consistent with the making of plaster. So they didn't find plaster. They found traces. So keyword or traces, could be anything, of things that could have been used. Now, yeah, it was bizarre that something dropped out of there. But the fact that nobody went to jail, either Bob Arum is the shrewdest promoter out there, and or Margarito, maybe he called Rayful Shapiro and got him off. I don't know. But the fact that nothing ever came to fruition because of that, maybe means that there wasn't anything to it. I don't know. You guys tell me.
Yeah, because like traces, they could find like something very, very, very minute, like a dot on a pencil. But does that really equivalent to something that is a substance? I don't know, man.
Exactly. And by the way, people are gonna...
There's some dirty motherfuckers in this world, and they can make it look like you're the one that was dirty. Remember, he did the same thing with Trinidad, bro. Like, he has a history of doing this.
That's true, man. Yeah, the Trinidad fight where he was talking about the stacking, or not stacking, double wraps, right? Yeah. He was saying
you know what's interesting, BD? Margarito used to throw a lot of punches, like 1,000 punches for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine having something in your gloves, like, for example, when you train with weights, okay, you're going to throw punches. Obviously, you're going to throw less punches because you got something on your hands that makes your hands heavier. For a guy that throws a lot of punches, if you would have something inside your gloves, wouldn't that mean that you would get tired easier and throw few less punches than the average of what fighters normally throw? But this guy's throwing a lot more punches than the average. That's crazy.
Well, it would depend on the weight of whatever he had allegedly in the gloves. But the other thing that people point to is, well, look at Cotto's face after the Margarito fight, the first one. It's too damaged. Well, look at his face after the Claudio fight and the Pacquiao fight. He got hit a lot and his face was all busted up.
And they want to make excuses that's like long-lasting bruises from the Margarito fight, which could be true. But my point is that there is no evidence to suggest that he used anything other than his fucking fist to beat
Cotto. And he just wore him out with the constant pressure.
The California courts, they dismissed the case. There wasn't enough evidence. It is what it is. Like, I know people will forever say that Margarito cheated. It is what it is. Like, they'll forever say that, you know, Sergey raped some woman or beat up some woman when there's zero evidence for any of that. But to Lee's reverse Lee's point, that was Krzysztof Włodarczyk he thumbed in another fight. The guy that Gassiev knocked out more recently. Cunningham thumbed him too. And another thing about that video, there was like some
Polish
obvious
guy.
bootleg. Yeah, that was some obvious bootleg stitching on the glove. With the funny thumb, you could see like that the stitches were altered by hand. It wasn't machine stitch, or it just looked out of place basically. Like there's obvious modification to the glove.
Interesting, very interesting. It just goes to show you there's some sneaky people out there, man. I mean, one thing that I learned coming up in boxing was, look, you learn how to be a dirty fighter in the ring in case somebody does it to you. But let's remember, there's people out there that go into the ring with that mentality of win by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Repeat it, by any means necessary, whether it's outside the ring. Even, hey, I don't know if you guys remember, when they had the Mayweather-Pacquiao weigh-in on ESPN, it was Teddy Atlas and Hopkins, two guys battling it out to see who could appear the most knowledgeable. And they were fighting it. Yeah, every time somebody says something, the other guy would try to one-up him. Like, yeah, but then you can also try this. And at some point, they were talking about the gloves, how you could cheat with gloves. And Teddy Atlas was saying, oh, yeah, you can roll the glove. And then Hopkins was saying, oh, yeah, and if you put the glove on, you can also punch the wall. And so they were coming up with all sorts of tricks at which, okay, maybe they wouldn't necessarily work or they couldn't get away with them. But they certainly knew the tricks. I don't know if you guys can find that on YouTube. But if you can, or if somebody can find it, watch it, because both guys were giving a master class on how to manipulate gloves. So that just tells you,
or whatever it's called. But and the whole thing with wraps, like plaster of Paris. Look, if you have healthy fists and you're a good puncher, it's not gonna make any difference. The reason why some guys load their gloves with that stuff is because they have fragile hands that have been broken before, and they just want to protect them from breaking again. So if you have a healthy fist, you're gonna punch just as hard with plaster of Paris or your bones, because they're really just as hard. So it is cheating, you know, if it does happen, but it's not really, it doesn't really give you that great of an advantage unless you're Paulie Malignaggi.
No. You had to get a dig in there, huh? I can expect that from Stu, precise. I can expect that from Stu, but not...
But Paulie, he was notorious. The reason why he didn't punch hard is because he always broke his hands. He had fragile hands. Someone like Nonito, for example, like you could give him cast, and he'll punch just as hard, because whether he breaks his hand or not, he throws with full power at all times.
That's
he just
true,
punches through the pain. He punches through the pain, but a lot of guys will pull their punches once their hand is hurt.
That's true, man. And I give you credit for saying brittle hands, because Recognize would have used a term like bitch hands or something. But it's true, man. I mean, look, these guys, some of these guys, it's bad punching technique too. They break their hands, and then throughout their whole career, they gotta turn slapper or something. I mean, it's a brutal sport, man. It's a brutal sport, and the last thing we need is for people out there bending the rules to make it even more dangerous. But that's what boxing is nowadays, man. I mean, what's always been, in other words. Gotta watch out for the vultures out there. All right, fellas. It's been 3 hours and 37 minutes over here. I'm pretty sure Bucho's gonna probably do an episode one of these days. Because now, I don't know if you saw the Wilder thing. He's coming out. He seems to have finally said, you know what, I'm going to come out and say...
Bitching.
Yeah, bitching. I'm not really terribly interested in that. So I don't know if you guys want to save the energy for one of these days. Because I'm pretty sure...
He's trying to talk his way into being confident for a fight he knows he can lose.
It's
well,
probably
Wilder let the contract go null and void. Now he's talking about like, oh, they attempted to kill me and all of this shit with a lot of gloves and everything, and I've got evidence, but I'm not going to court with it because I want the third fight, even though I let the contract go null and void. By the way, I never ducked Anthony Joshua, even though in the Twitter messages I admitted that I ducked Anthony Joshua.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, man. Yeah, it's he's digging himself a hole, and it ain't looking good for him, man. That's all I can say. But like I said, I'm pretty sure Bucho's going to do an episode on that. So if you guys want to talk about that later on, that's fantastic. But
Can I mention one last thing, BDA?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry for cutting you off.
That's okay.
In regards to Tank Davis, I brought it up last time. I have to defend him by saying I don't think he's that much of a dirtbag as people make him out to be. Especially the way he spoke about Leo Santa Cruz and how he comported himself. Yes, people, especially when they're kids, they seem to be immature and do stupid things. But the way he carried himself yesterday, it was a pretty decent way to talk for himself about other people.
Yeah, let's see if he can keep it up though, because everything went his way. But if things don't go his way, let's see. Well, actually, not everything went his way though. He didn't look all that great against Santa Cruz. But look, he, like Jimmy said, he had a rough upbringing. That can really screw a guy. I'm not justifying his behavior, but I am explaining that sometimes, it's like Chris Gonzalez in the chat room says. Shout out to Chris. It's the people he hangs with.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Look at the people around him. Floyd is his.
But even Floyd Mayweather, Rivers, he sort of said, you know what? He dialed it back a little bit later on in his career. It's Broner, though. I think Broner's the real. Listen to me. I sound like the fucking principal over here. But it's the truth, man. I mean, he's hanging around with bad people, and it's going to affect his performances, and it's going to affect his attitude. Kid's got a bit of an attitude. What do you want from me? All right, fellas. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here? Final thoughts, comments?
Davis, pound for pound #1. Peace.
There you go. Final statement from Precise. Great final statement. Anybody else?
Yeah, sure. I'll say some final words, right?
Fantastic.
I'll do it Martial Ministry style. Hey guys, I upload videos, and if you want to check out my channel, it's called Unrivaled Boxing Talk.
There you go. Check out Mark's channel on Unrivaled Boxing. In fact, if you want to hear more about the Wilder thing, I think Mark, you did a show on that, right? Earlier today.
Yeah, I did a show for about 2 hours, 20 minutes on it, and I've got like the footage of what Wilder's statements are and all the images up on another video.
Fantastic. So, guys, if you want to catch up on what we were briefly mentioned, because I don't have the energy for it, go check that video out. Unrivaled Boxing Talk. I was going to say unrivaledboxingtalk.com, like we were in the fucking 90s or something. But yeah, go just write Unrivaled Boxing Talk on YouTube. You probably already know him. Come on. Stop pretending you don't know.
What did Precise say before he left?
He said Tank Dave. He said Tank Dave is #1 pound for pound. Reverse. Any final?
True,
It is kind of true.
#1 pound for pound is whoever his girlfriend is who took that punch from him back.
Unrivaled. It doesn't matter what
Leo
time.
wasn't able to take it, but she was. She got a chin.
Doesn't matter what time of the night it is. Mark always has a couple of zingers left in the tank. Go ahead, Rivers.
I just want to say, Naoya Inoue, he's better than Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and both of the Charlo.
Why'd you have to throw?
And Tank Davis.
Oh, okay. Why you got to throw the whole BBC family under the bus? See, that I don't appreciate that. That's taking a little bit too far. Recognize.
All right, bye, everyone.
Take it easy, Reverse. Thank you for being on. Recognize. Don't give us the Vinnie Mac treatment and tell us to go F ourselves. Anything else you want to say before we move on? We get out of here. I think Recognize is on the toilet or in the shower again. Remember when he used to get in the shower during the shows? That was disgusting.
You saying something?
Oh, that's a good one. No, I'm just saying we're gonna get out of here. So, final thoughts, if you have any.
Final thoughts. No, I don't really have any, man.
All right. By the way, don't forget, man. Second Rennie, Tuesday. Bucho said that he already announced at the beginning of the show. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go, guys. I know there's still a couple of you there left who haven't clicked that like button. Go ahead and do that, please. Gons, anything else you want to say before we leave?
Jaime Bumbia, #1 pound for pound.
All right.
Oh, I like that one.
You motherfuckers, man. You motherfuckers are trolling me today. I don't like it. Don't appreciate it.
That lip shot, man. That lip shot.
Oh, yeah. We're going to call that the lip shot from now on.
Yeah, man.
The dreaded lip shot.
Hey, BDA, are we going to do the second renaissance for the election day freakouts?
Yeah, Bucho announced it at the beginning of the show. We're going to do it. Although, let me tell you, I don't know jack squat about American politics other than the fun side of it, the trolling and all that. So, we'll see.
That's what I like about it. That's the only thing I like.
Was that, Mark?
I'll join in on that. I love American politics.
Fantastic.
There isn't anything more beautiful and one-sided in terms of like misery than American politics. It's beautiful.
That's true.
It's hard to disagree with that. Yeah. But listen, we're going to have some fun. We're going to come up with a couple of things to discuss. It's going to be a free format show. We're going to be checking out what happens, man. Let's see if it's a repeat of 2016 or if it's Sleepy Joe Biden somehow pulling it out of the bag. I haven't seen that much support from him at his rallies. So if it's anything like that.
They're supporting. If you believe everything you hear from the media, remember this. Then Biden's supposed to win this. Okay? So keep that in mind for a second.
By a
Everything
landslide.
you hear, by a landslide. So that's all I gotta say. I'm not gonna give a prediction. According to the mainstream media, Biden's supposed to win by a landslide.
All right.
According to all of the polls of the liberal states, where, by the way, have you ever heard of a Republican being asked to do a poll on a vote? I haven't. Anyway, take care.
Guys, I think you guys are gonna have a lot to say on election night.
I like the part when he says "take care."
Yeah, he's like saying, "Don't get me started." That's what he's saying.
Like, go fuck yourself. In other words.
Well, I don't think he said that, but listen, I think that's you that wants to say that. But listen, fellas, thank you for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on, like I said, probably, we don't know if, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, maybe a show, but definitely maybe on Tuesday, we're going to bring you a broadcast. So thank you for joining us here. I want to give a shout out to everyone that donated the super chat. I'm talking about, peace, fellas. Talking about Luke Peterson. I'm talking about Ringside Charlie, who contributed with the super chat. Also, Tony Yayo, Chris K, Virtuoso, and Chad Collins. Guys, thank you for your contribution. Couldn't do it without you. And everybody in the chat room, thank you for being on. I'm talking about Grievous, Carlos Mendoza, Roy Babineau, James Thornton, Hawker Mustang, Nez Mendoza, Brian Harkin, Big Dan, Vince Vegas, Chris Gonzalez. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Nez Mendoza and the other Mendozas. Jonathan Morrison. Everybody that called in too, by the way. Shout out to you fellas. Rob, Brian Harkin, SSB28, Scripting College, Rick Rocca. Thank you fellas for everything. We'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy, fellas.